Acho que tem umas perguntas que parecerem legais no chat, eu vou passando pro Ed.
Boa.
Tá bom? Pra ter essa interação.
É isso. Tá no jeito aí, Rodex? Certinho?
Não, tudo bem.
Não, foda-se. Foi. Samson, again, thank you very much, man. I was just talking about the honor of having you here, and we have to thank you for being this ambassador and giving the chance for not only us as a podcast, but for Brazilian fans to have this moment. Thank you.
Like I said, man, thank you for being here. Thank you so much for having me here. Honestly, it's an honor, and you know, Brazil has always been a place to support me for a long time. And I had to come. I had to pay some attention. I had to come over here and see the Brazilian fans. So for me, it's something that's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
And yes, it's finally here, and I'm finally here in Brazil. And yes, man, thank you guys so much for having me, man. Appreciate it.
No, man, you're in the right place. I'm sure that you have so many fans here. And Samson, I know you arrived today, so
yes.
what were the first impressions?
Man, Brazil is crazy, man. Honestly, we arrived first thing this morning. We landed first thing this morning, man. I was excited to get the day going. Wow. So as soon as the minute we touched ground, it was like, man, this is São Paulo is a big city. It's a crazy big city, and it's active, man. I mean, 6 a.m. we had traffic on the road, and I'm like, yeah, this place is a city that don't sleep, and it's you feel it, and you know, we go to the gym this morning, and yeah, bodybuilding scene is live in Brazil, man.
Yeah,
you guys love bodybuilding.
You have to see it, Samson. It's insane, man.
Oh man,
it's insane.
It's nice to see. Honestly, it's very, very impressive, and it's all the things we've heard about. You know, Brazilian fans, they're crazy about bodybuilding. Yeah. It's true. It's really true, and seeing it firsthand is impressive. It's very impressive.
Next time you have to schedule to come for an honor Olympia, you'll be impressed by the expo. It's crazy, you know. The fans are crazy for bodybuilding. So nice to have the reigning Olympia here, man. Thank you. Wow, it's insane. And speaking of first impressions, you had the chance to see in person CIMERIAN's equipment and the new equipment, right?
Yes, man. Honestly, I was very impressed. You know, this is a company that I wanted to work with, and you know, they reached out to me a few months ago. You know, I said, look, I was opening my own gym here in the UK, and I wanted to work with a brand that I know that has the equipment that I like, and one that's robust. And when they reached out to me, it was just the right time. And you know, going over to the gym today and trying the equipment, I am very impressed, and I'm excited because this is equipment I'm going to be training with, going to the Olympia, with my own gym, using their kit.
Yeah.
And yes, this is
your own cave.
Oh my God. Oh yes, I am. This one it's got me feeling jitters, man. It's going to be a good prep.
Do you have the name for the gym?
Yes, I have the name of the gym, and I don't want to say until it's official.
Okay.
It's a surprise. Well, man, he already knows what the name is. But we're like, look, we want to reveal it. We're going to reveal it later. But yes, and yeah, it's you probably already touched on it, but it's going to be that moment. And yes, this one is going to be special.
Nice. I'm sure you're going to love CIMERIAN equipments, you know.
Oh, yeah.
You saw the level of our gyms here.
Yeah.
Best gyms in Brazil have CIMERIAN equipment.
Oh, yeah.
Now we have, you know, CIMERIAN oxygen gyms and gyms in the US. You're in good hands, man.
Definitely, man. We've been trying to keep out today, man. Seeing how durable it is and how smooth it is. I mean, I've trained with a lot of different equipment in my time. And being able to see that one and use it today, I had a smile on my face. I was smiling here today. I was like, this is good.
Nice.
I love it.
Nice.
I love it.
So before we start officially, I'm going to give you a present. This is our official mug.
Hey.
This is our official mug.
Oh, yeah.
It has a
Muscle
little...
cast, baby. I like it.
It has a little surprise. Check inside.
Oh, yeah.
But don't tell nobody. Don't tell nobody.
No, we keep that one concealed like this. I'm going to have my coffee every morning with it. So I'm like, yo. So, yo.
It's just to remind you in the morning.
Oh, yeah. So, you know what? Brazil, I'm saying, good morning. I said, cheers to my coffee. We don't need to see what's inside it, but we know. We know. No.
And Samson, we have a jewelry line with our logos and everything. So damn. I know you like gold.
I was looking at our tape. I didn't even know that.
For you, man.
Oh, my. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Are you for real?
Yo, of course, man.
Holy shit.
I told them, I need the biggest chain, the golden one. The man is the champ, you know?
Hell, I'm putting this on now. I'm swapping now. No, dude.
Wow, thanks,
Holy
man.
crap. Yo. Man, help me out this one, dude. That is impressive. Look at this here. Look at this.
I think you have to...
Oh. Now, I want the main one. This is freaking cool. Can I get over?
Yeah, that's it. Insane. Insane.
Oh, it's nice. It's a bodybuilding chain now.
Yeah.
You see, that when you guys see me wearing this all the time, we know where it came from. This is man.
Só pra quem é peso pesado.
Yeah. This size is only for the heavyweights, you know?
This is the
only for the heavyweights.
Holy damn. Look at that.
Só pra open.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I feel Now you see, now when I walk around the airport, everybody sees, they be like, that guy must be a weightlifter. If we couldn't tell before, we could tell by the
It's so hard to see that you lift, right?
Man,
It's so hard
to see. But now they can't mistake it.
Now it's very clear.
Oh, this is
very clear.
Sweet. Oh man, God,
I'm glad you like it,
Thank
man.
you.
Appreciate it.
Awesome. Wow.
Appreciate it.
Man.
Nice. Thanks, man.
I feel good now.
Thanks, man. Samson, you reached the pinnacle in bodybuilding. I mean, there's no highest level than being an Olympia, but it all starts from somewhere, right? Mm-hmm. And we know that you came from Nigeria. I want to know a little bit about your childhood. Like, were you into other sports? Were you lifting since what age? How it all started, man?
So for me, I was very young.
Just
I was very young. When I was in Nigeria, obviously, third world country. Bodybuilding weightlifting wasn't even in the subject, Third world country is always the same thing, football. This was our thing. Mm-hmm. So when I was young, played football all the time. And then, when I was 10 years old, I went to boarding school. I don't know if you guys have boarding school here. How do you call it?
It's like
camp. It's like
a kind of military school, right?
There you go. So I went there for 4 or 5 years of my childhood. So, for me, it was very disciplined school.
Yeah.
It was very, when you did something bad, they make sure that you pay for doing something bad. We were very disciplined, very strict. And, they always expected the best and hardest from us. So that was where that discipline mindset stuff came through, because that's what we had in school. And, you get punished a lot and everything else. So when kind of left school, my parents brought me to the UK when I was probably about 15 years old. So I came to the UK mainly for better education, came with my family. And, coming from that sort of third world tradition to here, not speaking English great, not reading well, and you get dropped in this, this much more affluent environment. It's a hard going, man. It's a hard culture you have to learn, and coming here by yourself and having no friends and nobody to talk to and everything else, and being put in a world like that, you become very resentful. You become very, angry and very sort of like aggressive towards people. And that was my childhood. I was, get into fights, do the whole, just leave me alone sort of thing, and aggressive. And so that was sort of my upbringing when I came to the UK. And, played football for a while, then switched from that, started playing basketball because I wanted to just kind of try different sports. So at the time I started playing basketball for a long time. And I really enjoyed that, and then as we got older, went to college, studied building work, started becoming more of a tradesman, doing, brickwork, carpentry. Wow. And that was me. And I went into work as a tradesman, doing those kind of construction jobs. And, bodybuilding, weightlifting, I didn't even know anything about it.
Wow.
The most I know about weightlifting and bodybuilding was watching a movie. Yeah. Like, oh yeah, that's a big guy, and that was it, And, kind of, went from there. I worked at a hospital for 10 years. I was a hospital porter for 10 years, just kind of doing that. And, from that point, one of my friends told me to try rugby. So wow. It was just kind of a chance. Like, he was like, look, why don't you, it's a team sport, it's a manly sport. And
I wouldn't want to play rugby with you.
At the time, people don't say, when I was small, I was very skinny. I was a very skinny person. I was 11 stone. That's 75 kilos.
Wow.
That was me. And I was already 20, coming up 22. I was only...
With 22, you were like 70 kilos?
75 kilos. Very, very... I was always very skinny. Remember, I came from Africa.
We have... Coloca as fotos dele, as primeiras lá, 2009.
Yeah.
Acho que é
2009 ele...
É umas bem... que ele tá bem madrão.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That was it. 2009. That was me. That was me working at a hospital, 75 kilos. Yeah. I was... Because I was
cabeça.
Genética, né?
Yeah, I was athletically built like normally, but
you have the
structure.
But
this is something I was so interested because everyone was, oh man, you had the structure for bodybuilding. I was like, I didn't see that thing. I was just a skinny kid. I was the kind of guy that I could eat anything and I never put on weight. I just skinny all the time. So I played basketball because it was like,
it was
a form for it, So, from there, we kind of like, one of my friends told me, no, let me try rugby. So I started playing that, and, the rugby coach at the time, because I was in the wing and I was very fast at running.
Okay.
So the rugby coach told me that, what, you're gonna get tackled by big guys, and you're very small,
skinny,
you know.
yeah.
So maybe you need to start putting on some mass and put some weight. So I started going to the gym just so I could be better at rugby.
You
know?
took it too serious.
I took it seriously. I was like, yo, okay,
You took it too
because,
serious.
Yeah, because I was enjoying rugby. So, I was like, okay, I'll put on some weight. I'll go to the gym. So I went to.
Já tava bem encorpado.
Yeah, so this was my sport because rugby was like a man sport, isn't it? It was you get hits, you hit the ground, you fight.
No.
Caramba.
And this physique was without lifting, like
this was just me
playing
going
rugby.
this is just rugby. This is rugby training, explosive training. So I started putting on size just from training and doing this.
Tem mais acho for this.
So no dieting, no nothing, just being
Absurdo,
doing that.
You weren't even the biggest on the
Oh
scene.
no! Oh, I was. All, they had me on the wing. They had me running.
It's insane because it's only like 12 years ago.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So it was literally a year after, because that was the year that me and my wife, we met at a gym. And, we started training together, and she started teaching me about, how to train properly. Because she was the first one that told me, you know what, this is how you train properly. This is how you stop doing stupid stuff in the gym. Start training like a real person that knows what he's doing. And, so after towards the end of that year, 2013, was when she said to me, have you ever tried, think about doing a bodybuilding competition, doing a physique competition? Because I was putting on mass very quickly.
Easily, yeah.
And then I was like, no. I don't want to, go to gym on my pants, man. I don't go stand on stage. No, that's not for me. That's not manly sport.
Yeah.
So, she kept on saying, think about it. And I was like, no, I like man sport. I want aggression. I want fighting. I want, So the guys at the rugby club, when we play a match, we go to the changing room, we have a shower, and they look at me going, bro, you getting physique on you. You ever think about doing bodybuilding? And I'm looking going,
even you guys.
Yeah, and I'm like, you guys too?
Because normally rugby guys are
like, no.
Boys,
exactly.
Right?
Bad boys like, why are you looking at me like that, man? No, why are you looking at me? I'm in the shower. Don't look at me like,
O Ronnie Coleman, só que futebol americano.
Yeah, see, Ronnie was similar, but with football, like
with football.
American football, yeah.
And he's always seemed to migrate that same way, isn't it?
Yeah.
But we always seem to come from other sports and everything else. So it always seemed to work that way for us. So when they obviously asking me, telling me that, and I was like, okay, maybe there's something there. So I went to my wife and I said to her, you know what, I want to try a competition. I want to try a new challenge. What do you want to do? And should we pick a competition? So the local town I was living in, Colchester, there was a competition that happens every year, once a year. It's called the Hercules Olympia. It happens every year in about April. So this was already the beginning of the year anyway. So I was like, let me sign up for that competition. Let me see what this works for me.
Yeah.
So I told her, you know what, you're going to have to teach me how to train because I don't know what the bodybuilding thing is. I don't know what it is. And that was the first time where I went on YouTube and I typed out bodybuilding and I see Mr.Olympia and I see all this craziness. And I was like, holy shit, people look like this? I'm like, this is insane. And that's why I said, like, first ever Olympia I watched was 2013, Phil Heath. And I watched the 20 Olympia and, and I saw every guy come out one by one. I saw Phil. And I was like, this is insane. I was like, this is crazy. And I was like, okay, I get this is amazing, And same time, the same year 2014, we started preparing for a show, and my wife started teaching me, okay, this is the delts, this is the pecs, this is bicep, tricep, quads, hamstrings. You say you got no calves, you got no delts, you got no back, you got no nothing. Okay, start training like a man. So she started teaching me, how to train properly and what actual muscle group is, and then we started getting ready for our first bodybuilding competition. And so it was interesting because the day that I had my first competition, which was, I think it was like 13th of April, was, I don't remember, you remember the original Generation Iron?
Yeah, the first
That
one.
was that same day the DVD got delivered to our house and we kind of watched it for the first time. And that was the first time I saw bodybuilding.
So Malinka was already into bodybuilding.
Oh, she was into it before me.
She was an athlete herself.
Yeah, she was an athlete herself. She was already, in Poland, their degree of fitness is a lot higher than the UK. So they study all part of fitness, and she was already a fitness instructor from there, and she was already had a history in bodybuilding sports. So the nutrition and everything else, she knew more about all of it, and I was just a jock, man. I was a musclehead. I didn't know anything about this. So she was taking the fact that I was preparing for my first show. I didn't even know what diet was. They would say eat chicken. I was eating chicken drumsticks, man. I was like, chicken,
It's chicken,
chicken's chicken, So, we kind of, prepared for my first show then. I know I remember it was in our apartment. We learned what posing was. Okay, what's this posing? Put it on YouTube. And it was, I think it was Leader Brother.
So he had good reference.
So I was like, okay, front of bicep. No, front left, okay. So we practiced in our apartment the first time. I remember the first time I looked at it, this is too many poses, man. What's all this?
Very nice,
so we practiced a lot and we sort of used that and we went off our first competition. And funny enough, we did the first time competition for people that have never competed before.
Yeah.
Signed up for that, did the first day of that, and we won the first thing in the morning. We came in, we won the competition clean. And it was one of those things where, I was never one person, I didn't know what it would be like standing on stage, I was always very shy as an individual. I never spoke. I was always very quiet, very introverted, very reserved, that kind of guy that I don't want no attention on me at all. I always want to be in background. So we didn't know what it was like.
It's a challenge, right?
It's a challenge to go stand on stage now.
To people judge you, right?
To people judge you with no clothes on. This is a big step, So for me, it was that, getting used to that aspect of knowing what it is. So you can do the training and the gym. That's the part is okay. This part you have to do. Now you have to take that and then go stand on stage and flex and get judged. This is challenging.
I think we have the picture. Ordex, coloca a primeira foto de competição, por favor.
O primeiro Olympia é criado de YouTube, então. Cria de YouTube.
He's saying that you were first YouTube self-instructed.
First. I probably was. This was crazy, but that's
true.
true.
Mr. Olympia YouTuber.
Yeah. First
I got Mr. Olympia for watching YouTube. Yeah, that's probably true.
Was this one the first?
That was my first competition.
Wow,
that was one the junior.
You already had it going, man.
It was
do show Roden.
Yeah, the show Roden pose.
Man, honestly, that was one of the guys I was watching and I looked up to as well when doing it because I was like, okay, got the shape of that. So so because for me, I was like, I just wanted to do the one show. I didn't have plans to do more. It was like, let me just see if I like it. Let me see how it goes. So we did that one and we won the first timers and it the love came from there. I came off stage and everybody was like,
they saw the potential.
They're telling me, you know what, you need to take this seriously. You can go far. And even then I was like, I don't know. It's like, no, you can take it serious. You can go far. And I didn't know what's a pro. I didn't know how do you get to the Olympia. I didn't know any of that. So it was after we did this, that's when it was like, okay, how do you become a pro bodybuilder? What do you need to do? That's when we went off and started using, at this time, you don't know any pros. Where I was from, there's nobody that you could speak to. So we had to go on the internet.
And where you were from, people talked about Dorian or no?
I mean, people that obviously UK people, they have gyms that know about Dorian. They talk about Dorian and everything else, but Dorian was like 1998. This is 2014, so it was always like in history. So now things are so much different. So even the information of the time, you didn't have that information of how do you do it?
Yeah.
So we didn't have anybody to ask. So we had to me and my wife, we check research. Okay. Wow. How do you become a pro?
YouTube.
What do you do? YouTube. It was us. This was it, And even funny enough, I was watching Dave Palumbo, talking about this people I was watching to sort of pick up information, and she was doing a lot of studying, She was studying the diet, she was studying the training, she was studying that side of how to really bring out the best of my physique. And she was teaching me, from this because she does a lot of researching. So she was teaching me all this part, and I was like, okay, this is what we do. And one thing led to another, 1 year after the other, and we just kind of built on that. And we obviously a lot of mistakes from my part, a lot of mistakes. But every time we did that, we learned. We learned a lot, and we learned from those mistakes, and we learned how to be better. And you build character from that. From failing over and getting back up, and failing and getting back up, and going one time after that. You start. It teaches you, that perseverance and that integrity to hold on and keep going after it. And even though at the time I didn't have any idea about being Mr. Olympia, it wasn't even in my mind.
Not even a dream.
Not even a dream. This is crazy. I'm looking like that, and I'm looking at guys like Phil Heath. Come on, man. I was like,
not the same race.
Not the same. Not even the same race. So even when we started getting better, my idea was, okay, you know what? If I can just maybe I make it to be a good pro. This is good, achievable, maybe I make it to stand on Olympia stage, one of the best in the world.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
That's good. I've achieved something great in life.
Crazy.
That was it.
You know, it's crazy because when we hear a story about champions, they always had the vision. You went like step by step.
Step by step. It was never. I always had to, because it was the thing where it's like, from my history and where I'm from, I didn't have people believing in me.
Yeah,
I didn't have, loads of people, they come in, people are like, yeah, you can do it. Your family's like, yes, come on, man. We know you can do it. You can do it. Me, it was the other way around. Me, it was the other side of things. It was like, you're never going to be nothing.
Wow.
You're a waste. You don't know anything. You're not smart. You're not intelligent. You don't have a degree in college. You don't know what you're doing. You can work hard, but you don't have a vision of what you want to be. So that was always, It was more like, okay, we just hope that you can take care of yourself. That's good enough. Wow. So to come from that, you don't have that belief in yourself to think, I'm going to be the best in the world one day. No, you just think, okay, how do I get to the point where I can do something to be proud of and say I achieved something in life?
Yeah.
I know I'm disciplined. I know I can work hard. I don't have a vision of what I want to be, but now I have this thing. I can be one of these things and prove to actually, I am somebody. I can do something. And that was my vision. So, okay, be one of the best in the world. That's enough.
Yeah.
I can stand back and say, look what I did, and that was my vision. That was, okay, let me do that. But, one thing led to another. One challenge goes in. And the thing is, every single time you achieve a new goal, it makes you believe in yourself just a little more, going, can I be a good bodybuilder? Can I be a good amateur?
Yeah.
Okay, you're now a good amateur. Okay. Can I be a pro? Oh, you're now a pro. Wow, okay. Can I make it to the Olympia stage? Can I win a pro show? Then you get there, and then it's like, now you're on the Olympia stage. Can I be a top 10 Olympian?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now you're a top 6.
Now you're top 3.
Now you're top 3. Oh,
it's getting
can
there.
I really be Mr. Olympia?
Insane, man. What a
So
story,
this is so the belief doesn't always just come from the beginning. I always tell people it doesn't.
Sense. It makes
It
sense.
works differently.
terceiro Olympia dele.
Yeah, your third Olympia where you won the show, right?
Yeah,
It's
so
insane.
Insane.
And how was your amateur career?
My amateur career was 3 years.
You won everything, like you appeared.
This is where life really hit you, because my amateur career, I won everything. At least you went from bam, 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 bam,
everything.
And what happens is, when you have this thing and you're good at it, and you notice you're good at it, you start getting arrogance. You start feeling like,
I don't need to diet that hard.
I'm like, yeah.
Right?
So
like
I go, I win my pro card. I'm like, yeah, you know what? In no time, we do my first pro show was 2018 Prague EVLS. Rolly Winkler, Nathan Deasha, Lucas Ozadel, big names. And I was like, I can win this show. It's my pro day. Of course I can win that. I go in that show, I placed 5th. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Not bad. First show, it's not bad. Take it off for top 5. And I, going to the next show, it was in Italy. And I'm like, you know what? They had 25 to 27 guys in there. Yeah. But the only big name was in there was Max Charles. So I was like,
Max Charles.
I have a chance.
I got a chance. I just came 5th. I came 11th. No, came 8th.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I was supposed to, what's going on? And I'm training hard as I can. I'm like, why am I not winning? Do the next show, Romania Pro came 11th.
11th. Wow.
I'm like, that was when you like.
Hard. That was hard.
Because you tell me, as well. But what people don't understand, when you're up and coming pro, all your finances is going into the sport. Travel, food is very expensive. So you're investing all you have into this sport. You invest in it, and this time, you don't have a sponsor, you don't have anything. So this is all your money. So I was still working construction, and I was working full time. My wife was working full time. We were working overtime. So all our money was going
dedicated
to this goal. So you're thinking, I'll go to a show, I win, get good money. This all pays off. You do one show, nothing. You go away empty. Do another show, 0. Third show, nothing. I remember when we did my it was my second pro show, and because I did Prague and I came I think it was like 1,500, and we're like, okay, nice. Buy something. Did my show, left nothing, and I remember my wife asked me, going, oh, don't you get any prize money? And I looked at her and I remember my heart broke. She said, oh, we don't make any money. I'm like, no, nothing, and it was painful. That for me was like, damn, okay, this is not good. Yeah. We've just spent all our time into this, and
energy, time, money.
every nothing, and you walk away with nothing. And I was like, this is hard. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, so we go into another show, nothing again. Soon enough, you start thinking, okay, maybe, it's no longer fun anymore. Now you're serious. Now you're losing things. You're not winning, you're losing things as well. All your things going. So that's when it's like, you need this. You have either start thinking, okay, you need to start put more into this and sacrifice more into it, or you need to start thinking, what else is there? What else can I do?
At any moment, you would consider quitting?
Oh God, yeah.
Really?
So 2020, that was my last. 2020 was my last year.
So close.
20 because we had 2018, didn't make it to Olympia, didn't work our way on. 2019 came second my first show. I think we did Chicago was 7th. Portugal. I think Portugal was like 5th and everything else.
Vancouver, ele subiu com o
Vancouver as well. Vancouver. So you do that show.
Lá atrás,
nothing.
Lá atrás.
Yeah.
Nothing.
And then I'm like, okay, that's 2019 gone. That's 2 years, nothing. 2020, I'm like, this, if it doesn't pay off now, at this point, we can't keep working all our effort going into this and we're walking away with nothing. So 2020, I was like, you know what? If it doesn't work this year, I'm not doing this again. I'm done. I can't keep letting us suffer like this. I'm packing in. So 2020 was, I came in 2020 like, yeah, this is my last year. If it doesn't work, I'm not doing this again. So
but then the pandemic came, right?
Oh yeah, and that's when 2020 was. I came into the mindset going, okay, I will do whatever it takes to make the Olympia this year. If I don't make it the Olympia, I'll give everything to make it Olympia. If I don't make it, I'm the. You know how they always say, oh, it's easy to say I'll do anything, but when life hits you, can you still say I'll do anything? This is your test.
Yeah.
So when we were prepping for the Arnold Brazil in 2020.
You were coming to the Brazil.
Coming to Brazil.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I think it was like it was about 6 weeks out. And pandemic hit. It was straight after Arnold, Ohio.
Yeah. Right after.
Yeah, and then I was already prepping for the show, so I was like, you know what? No, I'm gonna keep prepping because I don't think it will last too long. Soon, everything.
Yeah. At that time, we thought it was going to be 1 month, 2. Yeah.
Yeah, but at that time, so I carried on prepping all year. So one show that canceled. Okay, New York canceled, Chicago canceled, and I was prepping all through. At the same time, I was still working. And I remember all the gyms shut down.
Yeah.
So my friend, he had a gym that was an hour away from my house. I was driving my house. So I'll finish my job. I'll drive an hour to his gym. I'll train. I'll drive an hour back home, get my food ready, get ready for work the next day, driving out. And this was us throughout the whole months of pandemic, like trying to make it in. And it was like one show after the other show, council. And then eventually it was Tampa Pro in August.
Yeah.
At this point, we've already prepped all year. Tampa Pro was August. I think, I tried to travel to the US, tried to go everything, got to the airport thinking, yes, this is it. Show is still happening. I can go to the airport. They told me I can't fly. Whoa. So, for athletes, you're going through peak week. You're just about to fly. They tell you, no. It was hard. Wow. And then, then that's when we came. I remember coming home from that week. We went to the airport, bags all packed, everything else.
Wow.
We can't fly. So we went back home and it was hard. So I said to my wife, I was like, you know what, man, let's just go on. Let's just take the car, drive to the mountains and just spend a weekend, just relax. Let's just not think about this. I don't want to think. So when we were there, I looked in the calendar. Okay, what's the next show on the list? And there was next show in South Korea.
Wow.
So
man,
that's where the South Korea thing came along.
Stories. I love this story. I love it.
Crazy.
That's where the South Korea thing started, And it was crazy because they looked at it. You're looking at it and you're going, I said I'll do whatever it takes. And you're looking at kind of go, show in South Korea, okay.
Nossa.
UK, you can travel to South Korea. It's allowed to travel. Okay, what do I need to do? So I called the promoters in there. I was like, look, obviously it's pandemic and everything else. I want to come to South Korea and do the show. What do I need to do? And they was like, okay, the law right now is if you come to South Korea, you have to quarantine in a hotel for 2 weeks before you can come out to the public. I was like, okay, it's because at the time I was thinking hotel, hotel, gym, everything, food, this is easy, not biggie, okay. And I told them, okay, this is easy, this is good. And then they say to me, no, it's hotel as in your room only. You cannot leave the room. Ooh. You have to be in the room for 14 days. You can't come out. And I was like, okay, how can I have food? No, we can't. It's just you in the room. So automatically I'm calling my friends. I'm saying, look, this is what's happening. I don't know. What do you think? They was like, no, it's not possible. This is crazy. It's not bodybuilding. You can't do this. We sat down and spoke to my wife. She was like, I don't know how you're gonna do this. How are you gonna train? How are you gonna cook? How are you gonna eat? 2 weeks. It doesn't make any sense. It's not possible. And then I was still working as well. So I remember sitting there, I was thinking, I've been bored. I've been through a lot of shit in my life. This is the moment where it's like you sit down and you're going, everybody always says, whatever it takes, come on, man, you can do it no matter what. Don't never give up. I was like, but this is your moment.
Yeah,
this is whatever it takes. Are you really? How badly do you want this?
Yeah.
Are you just saying it, or can you prove it? So for me, I was like, you know what? Nobody else wants to do this. I'll do it. And I called them and said, yeah, I'm gonna go. And she was like, but how do we make it work? And I was like, okay. Training situation. Okay, I got 2 weeks on this peak week. 2 weeks. Okay, what can I do? I can use bands. I can use training in the hotel. I can make my training work in the hotel room. I can push ups. Everything. I can do.
We
that.
have images. Relax. Bota o vídeo da Coreia, por favor. Let's show how he was working. This is insane, man.
But it was,
when we saw this as a fan, we like, this guy wants a lot.
It was that moment, you know, when you're struggling and you believe.
So check this. This was your training system.
Yep. Talking about any system you can to train. You know.
Fazer e-book. E-book de hotel.
Oh man, it's crazy because I look back at it now and I think, what the hell were you thinking?
What were you doing? Yeah.
But you know,
the
that
cardio,
was cardio.
It's insane.
Because like, how do you do cardio in a hotel room, right? You can. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna run on the spot and burn as much calories as I can.
Do quarto.
Yeah, and the smell in the room will also.
Oh God, yeah. You know, so you're like freaking the whole room is steaming. I'm like, oh, this is it, you know. Like, okay, so you're like, okay, you do that.
Man, it's insane. It's insane because you did all body parts. You went for the bands.
Yep.
Check the bands.
Like try to get everything in, try to contract everything as much as you can because this is all you have, you know. So yeah, so 14 days doing that, you know, it's like, yeah, this is when they say, you know, what do you really want to do? Can you do what it takes? And I was like, you know what? Prove it to yourself, if anything, that you are not just deluding. You're not just saying it. You actually genuinely mean it. And for me, it was a moment of, okay, let's see if this is what you really are capable of, you know.
And it's so nice that you recorded everything.
I know, because I wanted to document
it.
I wanted to document it at the time because I knew that it was something that I wanted to look back and see. I mean, you didn't know where life was going to take you, but it's one of those moments I want to look back and see. So looking at it now, I'm like, man, okay. I don't know if I could do that again, but damn, you know. Well, it was the time.
And it seems like it was gonna last for 14 days,
man,
right?
It felt every bit of 14 days that you can think. You know, it was very crazy, and you know, you do
this is insane.
This like, just to kind of get any kind of
bodybuilding, calisthenics,
but this is
Korean hotel.
You know, so you know, you kind of that was that moment, you know, and you know, I was speaking to promoters at the time, and it was like, okay, you know what, they're counting down the days on how many days I got left, and on the 14th day, you know, I was about to come out of the hotel. I'm like, you know, you've done this achievement. Yes, I did it. 14 days. I can come out now. The show is this weekend. Great. And then the day I was about to come out of the room, you know, the promoters, they called me up and they say, hey, Sam, we got bad news. I'm like, what do you mean? It's like, Korea is going back into lockdown. So we're going to have to postpone the show. First, they said they were going to cancel the show. And I was like,
after all this,
wow. Man, it was hard. It was heartbreaking. Man. I remember they told me that, and I just literally just said, okay, you know, I just put down the phone and I went back to sleep. I was like, I can't even take this all in. It was just too much, you know. So they said, look, we're going to be able to postpone the show for another 2 weeks, but you have to stay in Korea for another 2 weeks, or you can call it quits and go home. Nice. So I'm like, I've already done this. I've already sacrificed to come this far. I might as well stay another 2 weeks, you know. So stayed another 2 weeks, got into a normal gym, got normal food. At least that was easier, you know.
Yeah.
And then, you know, went into that and went in the show. But the thing is, when I was doing all that, I was trying to keep it quiet, you know, because I left my job back home and I told them, look, I gotta go on holiday real quick. I gotta go see my family. I didn't want them to know about this. I was like, look, I didn't want to know. I wanted to go in there. So when I was doing this, you know, people saw it and they were like, this is crazy, you know. And guys wanted to have interviews and say, look, what are you doing? And I was like, yeah, I'm in this room. And those interview videos, somebody from work saw the interview.
Oh my God.
So they called me up and the work manager called me up and said, we see that you're in Korea, you're in Korea, you're not supposed to be there. And, you know, they tell me, okay, no more, that's it, you're fired.
Oh, you got fired.
Yeah, so only the show got canceled. I lost my job. And you're like,
oh my God.
Everything. Like at this point you're thinking, man, you
has to work right now,
you feel stupid because you're thinking, I just took a chance and I've lost everything. You know, and already you know, you're sitting there and you're thinking, wow, this is a mistake. You know? And it was the same time, that's when obviously, you know, one of the interviews I did was with Fuad on his channel. And he called me up and he was like, yo, Sam, you know, I heard that are you not sponsored by anybody? I was like, no. It's like, oh, so who's paying for you to fly and do all this stuff? I'm like, man, bro, this is me. I'm like, this is out of my pocket. This is me. And he was like, wow, really? He was like, okay, you know what, man? I'm starting a new company, and I think we talking about sacrifice, right? You know, going after your goal regardless of anything, and sacrifice without no regrets. He's like, I want you to be part of the company. So he sponsored me off that.
Wow.
And for once, I was like, okay, this is okay. That was a lifeline. That was this is your chance. You know, you get this little lifeline from it. So when we came back from Korea, it was basically you're going back home to a situation I've never been in my life. I've never done work. So I'm not going back home now. I don't have a job anymore. I have a sponsorship, but this is all you have.
Yeah.
And you go home and you're worried. You kind of have to be worried, like, what do I do? Like, how do I feel? How do I make this work now? You know, this is the only thing I got. And I was, for about 2 months, very, very hard. It was very mentally hard for me to understand and take this. Because I've always woke up in the morning, go to work, come back from work, go to the gym. And for the first time, life changed completely. Yeah. So I'm sitting there uneasy. I'm like, this is not normal for me.
And it's so nice. I remember Fuad saying that when he talked to you, I think he interviewed you while you were in Korea, right?
Yep.
And he said, I talked to this guy, and the only thing that really caught my attention is how obsessed he is to just going to the Olympia. That's all he meant.
Oh, man, that's
all matters for him, is going to the Olympia.
Yeah, you know,
mindset absurdo.
And in the end, you did not win the show, right?
I didn't win the show. I came second on the show as well.
Who won that show?
So what's his name? Oh, the guy from Korea.
A Korean guy?
Korean guy.
Wow. The one with the big legs?
Yeah, the one with the big legs.
Yeah.
So he won the show. I came second. Yeah, he was really good athlete, though. So I came second to him. So I was like, okay. So you still didn't get to go to Olympia. And then I think the same year we did the European Pro Show straight after. I think 4 weeks after that, came fourth. So at this point, you're like,
my God,
I'm doing everything, and I'm still not getting like nothing, you know. And then, you know, that year, I remember when 2021 ended, and I was like, you know what, I don't even know if this is 2020. When 2020, I was like, I don't even know if this is for me anymore. I don't think bodybuilding. Maybe this is a clear message. You've done everything, and it's not working. Maybe this is a clear message that bodybuilding is not your path. You're good, but it's not good enough. And I told my wife, I told Fuad, I told him, I was like,
Rafael ficou na frente dele.
I'm done. Yeah. You know,
he's saying this show, Rafa.
Yeah, Rafa, James, Regan,
they all got positions.
Lucas also there.
Yeah. They all got positions in front of you. Right?
Yeah, they all got positions in front of me. So at this point, I'm like, I don't think it's for me. I don't think it's for me. Wow. I don't think this is working. So, you know, so spoke to my wife, and you know, they convinced me in 2020, end of 2020, like, look, maybe you just need a coach to sort of show you what you're doing and help you out and sort of give you a guidance on what you're doing. And I was like, you know, at this point I was just like, I don't know, you know, just whatever. If that's where it has to be, then that's where it has to be. But let's see how it goes. So Fuad put me in touch with John Meadows. Yeah. You know, so John. So that's exactly it. So John started speaking to me, you know, at the time, you know, that was the point where we started working together, beginning of 2021. We had our off season together. We went in, and then, you know, at the time we wanted to qualify for the Olympia for that year, but we said, John said, look, let's compete further down the year. So that year they had the Arnold UK coming back for the first time. They had a bunch of pro shows then. He was like, let's aim for one of those shows. So I think Arnold UK was like in September. So we started prepping together after a long off season, you know, put on a lot of good size, started prepping for the Arnold UK. And, you know, prep was really good. You know, prep was kind of, everything was clicking nicely. For the first time, you know, at this point, my confidence was low. You know, I was really, really low confidence. And John always kind of tried to build me up and like, man, you're looking good, bro. You're gonna be great, man. People are gonna talk about you. You know, you're gonna be amazing. He's trying to build my confidence and trying to get me to sort of believe in myself again. And, you know, kind of go through that. And it got to the point where he started making me believe that, maybe I'm not done. Maybe this is going to be great. Maybe this is going to work for me.
Nessa época, todo mundo falava só do Luxando.
Yeah, the Luxando was the guy at the time, right?
Yeah, Luxando at the time, because he passed away in 2020. Yeah. You know, and so it was kind of like, at the time, you're seeing a lot of dark times in the sport. There was no shining beacon in there, you know. So we were kind of prepping, and, you know, you're kind of going through prep. And I remember it was like 8 weeks out. And 8 weeks out, you know, everything finally felt like it was okay. It was finally like, okay, we're gonna do something. And I started building up. And then I remember it was a Friday. I checked in with John on Friday when I was 8 weeks out. He was like, man, dude, you're gonna, and I remember after the check-in, he did a podcast in his check-in saying, you know, afterwards, like, oh, you know, someone asked him who you got, clients you got. He goes, you know, I got this kid, you know, from the UK, Samson. You probably haven't heard him, but Samson, he's from the UK. He's a beast. You need to see him. He's going to be something, man. You just wait out. He's gonna shock the world when he comes out. So he did that podcast on a Friday, and on Sunday he passed.
Wow.
You know, so on Sunday I remember I was walking my dog with my wife, and somebody called. Somebody messaged me saying, "Oh, sorry for your loss."
Que loucura, velho.
And I was like, what's the loss? So I'm looking on the news.
Wow.
So I opened social media, and you know, it's like, okay, RP to the late John Meadows. You know, so that for me was like,
it's another kick on the stomach.
It was. I mean, imagine for the first time you finally.
I'm getting on the path right now, and
then it's like every single time you felt like, here. Oh no. Every single time
so
you get
close,
hand
but so far.
every single time, you know. So that was a kick, and for me that broke me. That just. I was like, no, I'm done. This is bullshit. And that broke me, you know. And I was just like, no, you know. And that weekend, I just you just sat down and you just like, again, one more at this point, you know. And I was just like, done, you know. And you know, for me, I was gonna quit. A lot of people called me. A lot of speak to me. They was like, look, you know, you and John, you've had a great year. Yeah. You're bringing something special, man. You know, for John. Finish perfect job. You gotta do this. You gotta make this at least, you know, show what John was talking about. He had a lot of faith and a lot of belief, you know. So finish what John is saying, you know. So I kind of like, okay. So that's when, you know, I kind of reached out to Milos at the same time because, you know, John and Milos, they had a conversational relationship with me. So we reached out and we started working with Milos going into the 100 UK. So everything kind of went great, and you know, that's why, you know, when we did the 100 UK, I had a routine because I wanted to really show what John meant to me for that one.
You made for him, right?
Yeah, and you know, so I remember that year I was like, because there was a few pro shows I was in, there was the last shows of the year after the Olympia. And I remember saying to myself, you know what, I'm going to do every single one of them pro shows until I make it to the Olympia. I'm not going to stop. Because John said, you know what, you're going to be in next year. You're going to be in 2022 Olympia. You will make it. And I was like, okay, you know what? Every single one of them shows, I don't care if I get on points. I don't care if I win. I'm going to do every one of them shows, and I won't stop until they give me that win. So we started on the UK, second place. Italy, third place. Egypt, third place. And then Prague, we came in. I remember at the time, we've already lost to Nathan De Asha for second place. Italy lost to Nathan and Rowley came third. Egypt lost to Regan, Shaban came third place. So when we were coming to Romania, to come to Prague, all of them, they were all doing the same show. Whoa. And I've just lost like 2 weeks ago to all these guys. So we're doing this. I'm like, this is so Prague. I was like, nah, it's not going to be a show you're going to win. There's just, you know, it makes some more, because at this point we're getting Olympia points. I'm like, let's make top 5. We'll get some more points. You know, at this point I was already ahead of point system. Like, I'll get more points and I'll go to Romania. This will be good. So I'm looking at him, you know, and we were saying, you know, somebody said to me, is like, you know what, I think you're going to win this show. I was like, really? I was like, you got Nathan, you got Raphael, you got Regan, you got Rowley, you got all these guys are all in this one show, and now I'm gonna win. I'm like, yeah, come on now, you know. So we all came into that show, and it was like, well, let's just have fun doing it. So came in that show and we did Prague, and that was the first pro show we won. And it was you can imagine people like, they saw me in that show and I just hit the ground as soon as they announced me, and they were like, what were you thinking? I was like, look at my life, look at my history, look what we've been through. And the one moment where you're thinking, it's not now, it's not gonna happen, that's the one moment where it's like, here you go. So that was, for me, I was like, okay, yeah, you've put you through hell, now you deserve to go to Olympia. Here you is. And that was I think that was the point where everything started turning around. And
you know, this show, Samson, I mean, I got to know you from the Korean show that went viral worldwide. But I think most Brazilian people got to know you on this show.
Because Rafa was in that show as well. You know, we were battling right there in the middle of the show.
And Romania.
And then we went to Romania, we battled out Romania. You know, and we built up a relationship doing those things because we were having so much fun on stage, and he made it so enjoyable. And I was like, man, dude, this guy is, I mean, I love this physique. You know, he had the same aesthetic, beautiful physique. So I was like, man, we go hand in hand. So this makes for a really good battle. And we really enjoyed it, you know. And, it was so funny because that was the point where I started obviously realizing the love and the support I was getting from Brazil after that show. And I was seeing, okay, lifestyle is changing slowly after that. And I was like, okay, you've been through hell. Now let's see what's on the other side. And we did that show. And for the first time, you know, I remember after we did that, it was coming up to December. And that was, you know, I apply for the Arnold Classic every year. Since I was always apply, always get, no, you're not good enough. You know. So that year was the first time where it was like, actually, you won a pro show now, we'll let you in the Arnold Classic in March.
Like crazy.
And I remember it was 14 days before Christmas and we got the news I was in the Arnold list. And I was at home, we were partying, we were like, oh my God, I'm going to have Christmas. I'm like, this is going to the Arnold. You know, and now I'm not only going to the Olympia next year, I'm also doing the Arnold. And for the first time, I'm like, this is great. This is great life. So we prepped for the Arnold and we went straight in and, you know, we did our first Arnold and it was like, you know, I think I put on 10 pounds of muscle in that prep alone.
Wow.
And the first time we were like, So I remember doing my last prep, I was like 270. And then when we did Arnold, I was like 280. And it was like straight up just between from prep to prep. I was like, oh, this is nice. So when we came in the Arnold stage, we did our first Arnold then and it was like, we came 4th for the Arnold.
With big names, right?
Big name shows.
5 preparações até o Warner?
Não, foi bem mais.
Não, mas nesse ano.
Because how many you competed 5 times in the year
I've
before?
done, yeah. This is like that was the first one. Since then, I've done what, 4
Who was in
now.
the Arnold?
So we had Brandon Curry,
right?
Brandon Curry, William Bonac, freaking who was there? Steve Kuklo, what's his name? Justin Rodriguez, Brett Wilkins. I can't remember how much. Regan was in it as well. Nick Walker was in it. Nick won the year before. He was in 2022.
True.
I can't remember. There were some heavy names in that show, you know. So we came in, and when we were in first call out for the first time for Arnold, I was like, oh, holy crap! This is a guy I couldn't win a pro show a few weeks ago. Now I'm first. So you know, this was big, and I was like, man, okay. So it was that coming out of that show, it made me feel good about, okay, this is, maybe you are meant to do bodybuilding. Maybe there's something there. You might just make it. You know, you're going to, because at this point I'm already making it to the Olympia stage. It's good enough. All right, okay, this is quite exciting. I'm enjoying this now. And then we had the off season that year, and that was the year where first time.
This was in the off season.
That was off season.
Before we talk about the off season, Samson, just let me show some pictures. Godex, mostra as fotos dos campeonatos. Just to see your evolution was insane.
I know, that was the year where
your evolution. I mean, we have pictures from like your early pro shows to this day, and it's just nice to show the people. Like, we have the sequence is insane, man. Pode ir passando devagarzinho.
Mas olha como evoluiu de ano pro outro.
14 for 15 was insane.
Was a jump,
was a big jump.
And then 2017 was the year where I finally.
16, very aesthetic, man. Yeah. Very aesthetic.
17 was the year I brought my pro card in 2017.
This was a pro card year?
Pro card year. And that was my pro debut year.
He said Rudy was in the show, Rudy Boy.
Yes, he was in the show as well, yeah.
He has a picture. This,
oh, really? He has the same background,
yeah. Background.
That's how...
esse menino aí.
Rudy falou? Rudy said when he saw you, who's this guy, man?
I know. Because this guy. Andrea Monza, Andrea Presti, they were all backstage at that show. I remember meeting those guys. They were looking at me like, who's this guy, man? Who's this dude? I was like, yeah. Oh, man. So 2018, that was Italy show right there.
Olha como mudou.
Like, okay.
Bonito, né?
And then, Prague.
Olha. Muito condicionado.
Yeah, that was battling with Nathan DeAsha and the big guys at the time, man. That was.
Ele era muito condicionado, cara.
And then 19.
This is a jump also.
Yeah, that was 18, 19 was a jump.
This is a jump also.
Because it's like this one where you made that jump and you're like, come on, man, this must be it.
Yeah.
And you don't get that result still. And you're like, man, what else do I got to do? Like, you know. And 2020.
It's insane to think that with this physique we're thinking about quitting, man. It's insane,
because you
the
saw
results, the level is so high with this physique was not winning shows.
Yeah,
man.
I know. So you kind of think you sort of made you disheartened because you think I can see the result, but it's still not good enough. And you're thinking, okay, what am I doing wrong?
Yeah,
and
for sure.
What way is it that I'm not doing right? And after that, you think maybe this is just not for you, you know. So you do tend to feel like that. And 2021, Arnold UK.
Próximos. Yeah. This is Arnold
Yeah,
also.
Arnold UK.
Yeah.
That's Italy 2 weeks later.
Very nice.
And that's Romania that year.
Yeah.
And then Prague before.
Bonito, hein?
And that was my first pro win. 21 Prague.
what a
And then that's
journey.
Arnold, first Arnold I did, Arnold, Ohio 2022. That was the first one I did.
This one you got fourth.
That's why I came fourth for Arnold, Ohio, man.
Quem ganhou esse ano? Foi o...
Brandon won
And
this
then
year.
Prague. Brandon won that year. And then that was the year we finally
Oh,
did
yeah,
our first
22.
Olympia.
estreia dele.
This is your debut.
That was
Olympia
Olympia
debut.
debut right there.
Sexto, né? Six.
Yeah.
Sixth place. Olympia.
Yep. And then
Arnold
11
next
weeks
year.
later, 11 weeks later after that Olympia debut, you had
won
Arnold
it.
23, and that's when
batalha
Arnold
com o
won.
Walker.
Yeah.
On Nick Walker,
Yeah.
right? It was an insane battle,
Oh
man.
man, that was a
Very
lot. That
insane
was
battle.
an insane battle.
Yeah, it was
that
very
was
nice to watch, man.
Oh man.
Meu, colocaram pra confrontar várias vezes.
Yeah, they put it here to pose like
Oh
a
man,
lot
they
of
did
times.
a lot of rounds with
A
us.
lot
I
of
was like, man,
rounds.
dude, I've never posed that much in my life. I'm like, what? Like, come on, man.
A lot of
Dude.
rounds.
Oh.
And 2020,
Yeah, and
Arnold,
this,
man, man,
And this insane.
yeah.
Third place.
So Samson,
place.
let's bota a foto, o negócio do off-season que eu te mandei. Let's talk about the off-season that
Yeah.
you did. That listen,
So-
I can't remember a better off-season in bodybuilding history
Yeah.
than this one, because it was not only like weight.
Yeah,
it was quality weight.
Yeah.
And I saw Fuad talking about this also. He's like, man, I never saw somebody get so much bigger with so much quality in such a short period of time. And before we, this is the
Oh yeah, that was the first time.
This is the video.
Segredo é o espelho.
So he said the mirror was the
mirror.
You were with
That was first 330 pounds
pounds
for the first time that year.
149 quilos, pessoal.
Yeah.
Yo,
Foi aquele
marcando.
que foi aí que ele começou a chocar o mundo.
No,
né?
at this point you were like, people were like, what the fuck is
What
going
up?
on? Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah. Because I remember that first time of getting that, because it just felt like when we started off season, it just kept on growing. And I remember going, because okay, I've been 310 pounds before. I was like, okay, and that was uncomfortable. I was like, okay. So when we started this off season, we just kind of going, and 310 pounds just blew past like nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, not stopping. And then before you know, it was like 315, 320. And it kept on going. And it got to like 325, and it was so uncomfortable. I was struggling to walk.
Yeah, I can
I was
imagine.
like, damn, okay, but it kept on going and going
Yeah,
and going.
yeah.
So when we got to 330, I was at the point where I was like, okay, it was scary. It was like, because even at the time, because now I'm so comfortable with it, but at the time I remember even sleeping, I was struggling to sleep. Because it felt
So
like
much
it was
weight,
so much
right?
weight, and I was struggling to. It felt like when I sleep, I felt like I was about to freaking die in my sleep because I couldn't breathe. You know, it was so much weight, and I was like, okay, this is new. This is something I've never. And even then, when I walk in the streets, everybody stopped and they looked and they were like,
Yeah, of course.
what the hell is that? And I remember I felt so uncomfortable because it was like summer, August and summer, and I was walking around and I was like, oh crap! And I had to put a jacket on because I'm like, people were stopping going. What the hell? And because people always look at me because you're a big guy, but the first time it was that stunned look. It was
scaring
that,
people.
It was that scary look when they
Yeah,
looked at you. That before they look at you, go, "Ooh, that's a big guy."
That's a big guy.
But now they stop and they just go,
What the hell is this?
and I looked at them going, "Hey." Now that was the first time I noticed that. Okay, that was a different level.
Yeah.
That was a different level of
He
mass.
said it's
You
the
know.
best thing you can happen for a bodybuilder, right?
Oh man, it was
freak people
well,
out, right?
freak people out. They
Yeah.
walk past, they stop and they look at you like people driving cars. They pull over and they were like, and I was like, okay. I remember one day I went to the city center and I went to get a haircut. And the guy was like, you didn't take cash. He was like, oh, you got to go use the cash machine. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to walk in there. And I was walking through the street and everybody stopped. And I remember the whole street froze and they were just looking at me walking by. And I was like, okay. Did I go to the wrong turn? Well, why is everybody looking? What did I do wrong? And they all stopped and just looking at me like, what the hell? And I was like, okay, this is a new size. This is different. This is something
next
else.
level.
This is next level, you know. And it was kind of intriguing because like the first time you get up to that weight, because I know that not many guys ever get that heavy for, 150 kilos.
Yeah, it's not for anybody.
It's not for anybody. It's a hell lot of weight. And I remember thinking to myself, okay, this is a sort of new record and something I want to be able to stay in and get comfortable with. Now, the first time I did, it was extreme because even when we took my dog for a walk, I was taking a walking stick when I took my dog for a walk. You know, I could, if I stand there for my back and my whole body was aching so much. Now I'm like, I can't stand, so I got to hold a walking stick to like lean on. And I was like, I remember I ordered a walking stick off the internet. I was like, yeah, I need a way to walk around with this. You know, and it was really uncomfortable. And the first time we do it, it was like, okay, it's a new level of something I've never reached before. And funny enough, since then, every single year that I go back to office and hit that way, every year is just like, okay, more comfortable.
You're getting used to, your body
gets used to it. Now, you know, I come off stage and it's like, okay, the minute I start going back to the gym, like now I'm on a break. In about 2 weeks, I go back to the gym and I'll be back on that weight without blinking. Easy. And I'll be on it, I'll be like, oh, okay.
Wow.
And it feels extremely comfortable. And people are like, how you get 330 pounds of it? I'm like, the first time was horrible. The first time was like, okay, that was a lot. Now I do it less food, less effort, less energy. Your body seems to just get used to adapting yourself to that being that big. You know, and it's really weird.
You know what's crazy, Samson? Because we interview like every day big athletes here, and you don't breathe like the athletes thing. You have such a good like cardio system. You know,
I mean, it's one thing like because people probably see me the way I train. The way I train, because I came from rugby. Rugby is like, you have to be a big guy, but you have to be cardiovascularly fit as well. So you have to be very explosive. You got to be able to run very fast, stop, catch your breath and run again. So my training was basically that. I try to bring that sort of style of explosive training, but fitness into training. So when you see me in the gym, people are like, oh, you do a lot of supersets and you do a lot of high intensity. I'm like, yeah, because I don't do loads of cardio in the off season, I train in that way. So the whole time I training is my heart rate. It's fast.
Very intense,
And the minute I catch my breath a little bit, okay, I'm going again, next set. So I have that very high intense training. I'm very like that. And that enables you to put on, to be a big, but yet have great cardiovascular fitness and make your heart being able to keep up with.
It really impressed me. I think you're going to be here like breathing like a bulldog. Because we have a guy here that I'm like, push the mic a little bit further. Just people in the chat is like
he's breathing. We can hear him breathing from here.
Só que vários passam mal, que ficam suando.
A couple of them will start like sweating. I'm like, bro, you're sitting down. You're good. You know.
But it's something that it's taking time to do it because I've been through that stage. I've been through that stage where you're carrying so much mass and you feel that uncomfortable and you feel like that and. There's a level of that, but at the same time, where it's like, for me, bodybuilding isn't just about looking bigger and fitter and everything else. You're supposed to be embodiment of fitness. So you have the ability to not only look fit, but be fit. So your cardiovascular, you have to be functional as well. You can't just be all muscle and nothing else. So that's why, the way we train, the way we've kind of catered me is the ability to be able to, have that cardiovascular system to carry that much muscle around. So when I'm 350 pounds, I don't want to be walking around. People like, oh man, he's big, but he can barely walk. He looks like he's going to pass out in a minute. I'm like, no, I want to be able to walk around. But hey, he's not. He can jump. He can run. So I want to be able to sort of imbalance that whole physique for a long time.
Hybrid athlete, right?
Yeah, and this is it.
Not so much,
but to be 300 pounds, to be able to jump, to be functional at the same time. So it's something that you don't really see, and that's something I want to sort of make sure that it can be done.
And Samson, going back to your off season, what you did different that you weren't doing in other off season to have such an evolution in such a period of time?
It's understanding my body, man, because like bodybuilding, people don't understand. People always say, oh man, they want this guy, he needs to put on 10 pounds, he needs to put on 10 pounds. Why is he not growing? You don't understand. Bodybuilding is about learning. You have to learn how your body works and how it. So I remember that off season, the way I trained changed. The way I ate changed. Everything had to change, Before it was always the case like, okay, you got to eat 7,500 calories a day. How do you manage that? Normally people are like, okay, I'm going to eat loads of pizzas, junk food, and everything. Make that calories.
Calories,
But not 2 calories are the same. Eating 1,000 calories of burger and eating 1,000 calories of white rice and chicken, it's different. Your body uses that more functionally. Your body able to metabolize that better than if you're eating junk. So when we came in that off season, it was like, okay, I got to eat a lot of food, but it has to be food that my body can actually use. It can't be junk. So when we put that in and then you maximize that with the kind of style of training of doing a high intensity training like that, you're giving your body all the tools. And this, we just know worked for me. And the minute I could subsidize those two, we looked at me going, you just keeps growing. It almost feels like there's no limit to what your body can do at this point, because now you're taking the two things that your body needs, which is great nutrition and very high intense training, and you're bringing those two together into this one dynamics, and it just seemed to click. And when we figured that one out, it was just like, okay. So now every year they say, how do you put on size from show to show. How do you go without taking a break? I'm like, no, that's how we do it. And we were like, no, it must be something more. I'm like,
what's the secret?
And I was like, but have you tried it?
Yeah.
No, because this is, I would say, guys, come train with me. Come experience the way I train. And, you know, 2 workouts in, you see them already.
Come try to feel my shoes.
I can't breathe. I was like, that style of training works because not only are your body able to metabolize great food, but your body is able to stay healthy while putting on a lot of tension, a lot of mass on at the same time. And it's hard.
Yeah.
It's extremely hard. It's extremely all-grown because, you know, it's no longer, I'll do 1 set and I'll wait 5 minutes to rest and cool down, then I'll do another set. Now it's like, no, the minute you stop breathing, you next set, you go again.
So you were around 7,000 calories?
Oh, at that point, I was completely clean food, 7,000 calories. So you can imagine how much food that is. It's a lot of food.
And you're a guy that you eat easily? Like
No, I go bad. I was always. That's the reason why I was so skinny kid. I'm bad at eating food. I'm not.
Really?
I don't have a big appetite at all. This is why I don't have a big appetite at all. I had to teach myself how to do that because most people. It was the same thing where you tell guys, "Oh, I want to be big." I was like, "Yeah, you got to eat a lot." Yeah, but I don't have. I can't eat a lot. I'm not big. I'm like, yeah, neither was I. You have to teach yourself how to do it. You know, you have to practice. Nobody eats 7,000 calories comfortably.
Yeah.
Except you're really, really big and fat.
Quantas refeições?
But no one eats that comfortably.
How many reps approximately?
So, well, how many
reps in the day, meals in the day? Yeah.
So then we're having 6. You know, now I brought it down to 5, but it was trying to fit 7,000 calories of clean food in 6 meals a day.
Wow.
It's you eating a whole big meal every 3 hours.
Wow.
So it's uncomfortable, but it's practice. When you do it the first week, it's horrible. You hate it. Second week, you're like, still horrible. I hate it. Third week, you're like, okay, I'm used to it. This is all you got to do. He's not going to be comfortable. He's not going to be good. You just have to get used to it.
Okay.
And you have to practice. So some guys, they'll do it for like six weeks and they're, I don't like it. Then they cut down the dial. Now I'm going to go into cut. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, but your body hasn't got used to eating that. Your body hasn't put on the muscle and hold on to that for long enough because for you to put on a muscle, you not only your body have to put it on, it has to stay in your system for a long time so your body gets used to carrying that muscle before you start cutting down. Because when you cut, those muscles disappears. Yeah. It's all new. It'll go the minute you start dieting. So you need to let your body hold on to that and get used to it before you decide, okay, now I want to take it off.
Maturar bem,
you know?
Yeah. But you were eating everything, or you're the guy that put in a. You have to blend it and drink food.
I eat everything. Everything. So, you know, my meals, you know, this is why I said, like, since I started bodybuilding, my meals has never changed. The portion's gone up and down, but the meals has always been the same. We always make sure we have every different source of protein, every different source of carbs. So I always say at the same time, I start off breakfast, 6 eggs, 5 eggs with oats. The oats quantity will go up or it'll come down based on what I'm doing, but it's always the same first meal of the day. Always the same all year round. And then second meal is sweet potato and steak. Steak will go all the way up to 500 grams of steak, 500 grams of sweet potato, 200 grams of steak. That's always been my second meal. Third meal, you got off season. I do pasta and mince. So pasta will go up to 300 grams of pasta, 180 grams of mince. 300 grams of 350 grams of pasta, 180 grams of mince. That's my second meal. Lean mince. Always been my third meal of the day. Then you have rice and chicken, 200 grams of rice, 200 grams of chicken, or 250 grams of chicken. Yeah. And then your rice quantity go from 1 cup of rice, 2 cups of rice, 3 cups of rice, to the point where you eat it, put it up each time. And then this is how you get used to each one. Once you get used to one, you add more. You get used to one, you add more. And then we did this thing where we were trying to capitalize on that. So at the same time, for the first 3 meals, second, third, and fourth meal, once I finish eating, 20 minutes later, I have a shake.
Got it.
So we were having that. So you imagine this is
it's heavy.
It's heavy.
Yeah.
So but you have to get used to that. You won't start there and be comfortable. You have to first, okay, let me eat this much first and then I add a little bit more. Let me get used to this. And then you add a little bit more and then get used to this.
Had you ever tried before eating so much in an off season, or was it the first time?
This was the first time I've tried eating that much food clean. I've tried before eating with junk and it's not the same thing. Junk, you just put on loads of water and fat and then you diet and it all disappears. Yeah. So with trying to eat that much clean food, your body utilizes it better. You don't have screwed up stomach because now it's food that your body can use. So it's understanding this as an athlete.
And what you said is important because when you were on this off season, people were discussing but when he goes,
it's gonna disappear.
He's gonna lose everything. How much he's gonna maintain?
Yep.
So
and this was always a thing. But the thing is, we saw clean muscle coming on, and we were like, okay, we can see you can see the clean muscle on there. So when they were like, oh yeah, he's gonna lose anything when he diets, and then we walked on the 2020 Olympia stage, and everyone was like, holy crap, and I was like, told you, you know. And it was that dynamic, it was that understanding of, we know what works for me, and we can see very clearly what works for me. We can clearly see what doesn't work for me very easily, because my body responds very quickly. If you put a change in it, within a week, you can see it in me. You can see, okay, that's working. And all you can see is not working.
It's not working.
It's not working. So we are very quick to sort of pay attention to that and then change. Well, my wife is. She's very quick to say, okay, that's not working. Drop it out. This is working for you. And we can see the changes very well. So we know how to monitor these things and make sure that, okay, we know this style works. So same time with my training style. When I've tried all the other different forms of training, and it's all great, but we look at it going, you're not really growing. You're not really looking as full. You're not looking as dense. I'm like, that doesn't work. And then we tried these trainings and I'm going, in about a month, we look at you going, why do you look so round? And everything looks bubbly and everything looks so full. And we're like, that one works for you. So this is
interesting.
It takes, that's why I said that bodybuilding is about learning. Your body, everybody is different, but you have to learn what works and how your body works. And until you figure that out, you're going to have a lot of hit and miss. It's just normal. But when you figure it out, it clicks and you're like, okay, here we go. You know?
And something I really wanted to ask you is, because you have such a unique physique, because you have the size, but you have the aesthetic to it. Right? And the problem we see with bodybuilders is when they put on weight, they sometimes they lose
waist, or they lose
Well, is there any strategy that you have for putting so much muscle without blowing up your aesthetics, your line, your gut?
It's interesting, because for us, it's always been the vital part of us. Because even when I first started, everybody was like, look, you put almost, don't lose your lines, don't lose your waist, don't lose your... So we paid a lot of attention that, especially when we started growing. So in the off season, you see that even when I post my pose in the off season, we're still keeping that waistline. The minute we start seeing that, okay, your waist is looking a bit thicker, a little bit distended. And even the training style we pick, there's certain trainings we're like, that doesn't work for you. That's going to blow you out. So we have to make sure we always watch and pay attention to these things, because it's like, where's the weight going? If you put on 10 kilos and most of it is here, that's not 10 kilos you want to use. You want to drop that down and come back in. But if you put on kilos and you're seeing your limbs get bigger, your torso still stays fuller, and your midsection, you're like, okay, now you can keep going. So we pay a lot of attention to that, and you know, all this comes into where you train and where you eat. Is trying to always paying close attention to where, when you're putting on weight, it's not about, oh, you know, I put on 10 pounds this off season, I put on 10 pounds there. It's like, but where did it go? You know, what part of your body is 10 pounds going? Is it in your arms, in your legs, is it in your torso, is it all in your midsection, or is it all in your body? So we pay a lot of attention to those kind of things, and make sure that training reflects that.
And anything that you avoid doing for, you know, not you know,
I mean, some workouts, because people are kind of like, you know, I do avoid strongman workouts.
Okay.
You know, so you've always seen people like, they hardly ever see me deadlifts. You hardly ever see me do giant squats and stuff like that. Like, you ever see me just put piles on weights and stuff like that, because as much as it doesn't work for me. I'm being a taller guy as well.
Yeah, you're a taller guy.
It's different, you know, especially you got to work out for injuries and everything else. So being a taller guy, when I deadlift, you know, all I feel is my lower back. I don't feel anything but my lower back kills me. I'm like, no matter how much I do it, my lower back is on fire. I'm like, I can't even feel anything. Just my lower back is pain. That tells you, maybe that's not for you. Not every exercise works for everybody. It depends on your body type. Same thing with squat. If I do barbell squat, straight barbell squat, all I feel is my knees and my lower back. I don't feel my quads at all. Well, yeah, you might need squat to grow your legs, but if that's all you feel, then maybe that's not for you. Maybe you need to try something else that you know you can engage your quads more in it. So you end up switching that and try to do, because especially when you go heavy in those exercises, because when I do squats, I won't go as crazy heavy, because I know that when I go heavier, all now I'm trying to do is just move the plates, the weight from here to here. I'm not actually thinking about where's that tension going. So I always kind of like, okay, if I'm getting to the point where I'm feeling just nothing but me moving plates and my joints and everything else, then that's not for me. You either drop the plates down, drop the weights down to actually feel your quads part, or you change exercises. So those things we always watch out for, because when you try to persist at something that your body's clearly telling you it doesn't work, but you're thinking, yeah, I got to do it anyway. That leads to imbalances in your physique, and that leads to problems later on down the line. So we always been more mindful of dropping your ego at the door and thinking when you train, and not just following blindly because you think that's what it has to do. you know.
So nice to have an Olympia telling people this. Man. It's so nice. And Sam, I was going to ask you, we're talking about the Arnold.
Yeah.
Your life changed after you won the Ohio?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Like life changing?
It was, honestly, I think when we did when we did our first Arnold, life was always starting changing. And when we won the Ohio, the Arnold Classic 2023, that was the first time where, because normally we do a show, we do well in the show, you go home, there's a lot of noise around the show for like a week.
Yeah.
And then after that, it goes back to, everything quiets out, it goes back to normal.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, you expect that every time you do a show. But when we won the first Arnold, we went back home. And 1 week later, people were still talking about it. I'm still walking around the street, but hey, Sam. I'm like, who the hell are you? People are like, hey, congratulations. I'm like, ooh, 1 month later, everybody's like, people know, you go in places, people know who you are.
Foi com o prêmio do ano que comprou a McLaren dele.
Your McLaren came with
that was,
the Arnold prize.
People don't understand. I've always been a car guy. Look, I got two persons. Yeah. I got bodybuilding and I got cars. This is my love, you know. My dad was into cars, so he put it down on me. So when he's like, everybody have a dream like, man, if you win the lottery, what would you do? And I was like, yeah, man, I'll buy a fast car, I'll buy a big house. When I was working in construction, we see the nice car drive by, and I go, one day, maybe one day, So this is a dream, right?
Yeah, of course.
So when you got to the opportunity, and you were like, can I? And I'm calling my wife. I'm like, babe, you know that McLaren we saw the other day? It looks nice, right? Can I? And she looked at me going, yes. I'm like, I like the light red color. What color do you like? And she's like, yes. And I'm like, so is it okay if I have a McLaren? And they were like, I was like, what about if I do really well in my next show?
Yeah.
And he it was that point where it's like, okay, man. So I think it was after the 2022 Olympia. I was like, come on now, let me have a dream. Let me have my dream car, And we got that in. I was like, look, that's the only thing. Look, I don't do partying. I don't do jewelry. I don't do clothes shopping. I don't do a lot of those things. This is my only vice. This is the only thing I get to enjoy. I always say, look, this is my only hobby.
Qual que ele tá preferindo, a Porsche ou a McLaren?
Yeah, what are you preferring? You had both, McLaren and the Porsche. Porsche's,
oh my God!
Porsche's a Porsche, right?
I've always never been a Porsche guy. My missus, she loves Porsche, and I was like, yeah, but Porsche is a Porsche. Yeah. You've seen they're all the same. 911, they all look the same. They don't change. I'm like, yeah, and they're expensive and they don't change. And I never understood it. And I was like, it's a Porsche. It's a Porsche. It's all Porsche. Same Porsche. Yeah. And I always loved the McLaren because McLaren was always very flashy, very. I was like, yeah, look, it looks like a crazy car. And then I got the orange one about. People didn't know this. It was about in December. I got the orange one, and I was like, "Yeah, McLaren." And I drove it, and it wasn't the same, man. It wasn't. I like driving. I don't. Some people buy cars because they want to be seen flash. That's not for me. I want to.
Like the experience.
I love the experience of driving. I love that. That's me. So I drove it, and I was like, it looked very flashy, but it wasn't nice to drive. So I was like, I'm not enjoying this, 14. I had 14 days, and I was like, I'm not really even. It doesn't even make me feel excited because normally I was like, "Ooh, I want to go drive." When I'm like, I'm not even feeling it. So I talked to my wife. I was like, I'm not really enjoying that car as much as I should. And she was like, "You just bought that freaking car. You're telling me, I don't want to hear this." So I called the guy I got it from, Redline. And I said, "Bro, he was like, are you enjoying the car, bro?" I'm like,
kind of.
I'm not really enjoying it much. He goes, really? He goes, oh no. He goes, what are you thinking about? And then this time I started watching Porsches on YouTube. I was like, I remember I typed in best driver's car. And the Porsche came out.
Yeah, Porsche.
And I was like,
let me see this.
Porsche? So, I asked him and he had a nice one. He was like, man, it was like, okay. I was like, you like? I was like, I got something for you. And he showed me this all black one. And I was like, if I bring the McLaren back and I swap it, he's like, go on then. And I drove it. I was like, shit. I'm a Porsche guy now. Yeah. I'm a Porsche guy now. I get it. I'm a Porsche guy now. So now I got the Porsche. So that's my car now.
It's a different experience, right? A Porsche is a Porsche.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's different.
It's so cool. It's it's really, because it's a manual as well.
Oh, it's manual.
Oh, it's manual stick shift. Oh my God.
Puta coisa.
It feels like if you watch Fast and Furious, you get it. You get it. It's like you're driving, it's like I was like, you're changing gears for no reason. And like, I'm only doing 5 miles an hour, but I'm just changing gears backwards and forward. Like, what is going on? I'm like, no, I just like doing this. That's me. So Porsche, yeah, that manual Porsche, I'd love that. That's me.
That's insane, man. I really understand.
Piloto raiz.
Yeah.
Well,
this is the real experience.
I mean, it's real experience. I mean, this is the thing, like, we work hard, we train hard, we do everything to get a better life. And you know what? You have to have something to say, you know what? This is why we work. This is why we enjoy this. This is why we do this every day. This is why we ever go. And it makes you feel fired up because you're blessed in life to have these things. You know, people see it as a big dream, and when you achieve your dreams and stuff like that, you celebrate it by showing that, look, yeah, this is something I love doing. This is something that you have passion for, and this is what I've been blessed with because of the work we've done. This is something you have. So you experience that, and I always tell people, you know what? I never knew I could be here. I never ever believed I would be able to have what I have today. It was never in my horizon. I was working computer. I was working a construction job, man. I was lucky if I was ever gonna be able to buy my own house one day.
Yeah.
I was never destined for this. So to be here now and see it happen for me, I'm like, I know a lot of people that were in the same position I was that are still there now. I was, well, look, it's not impossible. It's not just a dream. It's really, it can happen. It genuinely can happen. And I never believed it until I did it. And I was like, these people happen. I mean, we sat there at work and we talk about, if you won the lottery, what would you do? What country would you travel to? What house would you buy? What car would you drive? And now I travel around the whole world and countries that I never dreamt. I'm here in Brazil.
Yeah.
I never dreamed of like, and you're here, you're traveling around the world doing this. And I was the guy working in construction site the whole time thinking, maybe one day if I'm lucky, things work out, I save a little bit, so, I go on holiday, I might go to Brazil one day, maybe. I'll go to Spain one day, maybe. I go America one day, maybe. And now you get to live that life and do it every day. I mean, that's why people go, when you didn't win the honor, why are you not upset? And I smile and go, look at my life.
Yeah.
Who lives this life? Who gets to do this?
Feliz,
How can you
always
be upset?
positive,
How can you be upset?
Always
all I
happy.
got to do is stop and go, okay, yes, you feel a bit disappointed that you didn't win the competition, but do you look at your life and go, oh, this is so horrible now? No, you look at it and go, it's still a fucking great life, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And then you smile and go, okay, let's get back to it. So this is something I always got to tell people, like, you don't know what you have, but you need to appreciate those little things because believe me, it does.
Yeah.
The more you do that, the more you appreciate life for it.
A gente comenta dele que ele é o cara que sempre atende todos os fãs até o final.
Yeah, we always say that you're the guy that you're the last one to leave and the meetings and whatever, what have you. You show that you love what you do.
Yeah, because maybe it's because of I know what it's like not to have anything. Maybe it's that. Maybe I know what it's like to be at the bottom and not expect anything. So when you're in this point now and you go to an expo, you're going around and you got thousands of people queuing up to see you, and I'm standing there because I was when I did my first expo, I remember standing there and I had no queue. And I still stood there going, wow, the queues were I was like, this is freaking amazing. Look, I get to sit here with these pros and I was smiling. And now you're standing there and you go a queue down there, and at the point I was the guy in the queue.
Yeah.
I was the guy that was queuing up hours to shake hands with a pro that I only see on YouTube and say, bro, man, wow, this is amazing. Wow, I'm meeting my guy that I watch train, and now I'm in the other side of it. So,
manda história que eu te mandei. Põe a história que eu te mandei na tela.
Isso, conta essa história.
Samson, this was in Orlando. I was there.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I was recording, and I was seeing on the video. There's only one athlete left here.
Oh, wow.
And his name is Samson Dauda. He's as humble, as big as he is. Like, you were the last guy to leave. Like, everybody,
that's crazy.
Look at this. Everybody
left. Is gone.
Everybody left.
Wow, I didn't see that.
You were the last guy standing, talking to all your fans. And I was in Ohio right now myself. Yeah. And I recorded also, and I said, listen, this guy was doing this when he was not the Olympia. Yeah. He's the Olympia now, and here in Ohio, he is still being the last one to leave. It's so nice to have ambassadors like you, man.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it.
Congrats, man, because
man, thanks.
It's not easy.
It's not easy,
and
but
especially because you're competing the next day, right?
I know. But the thing is,
you could be resting, you could be carving,
True, but the thing is, people. Only reason we're able to do this sport as a living is because of people that support us.
Yeah.
If you lose sight of that and you forget that the only reason you're able to do this and do this for a living and enjoy is because of the people that support you.
Yeah.
And then we don't do this every day. You only get to meet these people because you see the social media numbers, you see the numbers on the screen.
Yeah.
You don't see the faces behind those numbers.
That's true.
When you stand there and you look at the queue and you look at the faces of all those people that have come out, paid money just to shake your hand and take a picture, can you really walk out and leave?
Wow.
You can't. I'm sorry, but if you have any heart on any
That's so
stuff,
nice.
you can't.
That's so nice. Right
So even though they tell me, oh, come on, man, you gotta go. I'm looking at going, well, what am I gonna tell all of them that I've been standing here for an hour, 2 hours to shake my hand and take a picture? Oh, guys, thank you for coming. See you next year. It doesn't feel right. So I always try to say, you know what? If there's an energy in me, I want to make sure that everybody that came, that took the time to come there, let them at least, let me see them for a little bit.
Humildão.
Yeah, you're very humble. But at the same time, you know what's crazy? I've seen you talk that you love bodybuilding, but at the same time, you got to a point where you were hating preps.
Oh, God, yeah. I still hate preps. Yeah. I still hate preps.
But it got a little bit better, right?
It's got better. It's got better.
What happened in prep that you hated so much?
Prep.
It's dieting.
Preps brings out. It's not the diet. Trust me, the dieting is easy.
Okay.
The training is easier. The part I hate of prep is the person I become.
Okay.
Okay. Look, I always say, look, people know there's two sides of it.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a nice guy side you meet now. I'm talking now. I got food in my stomach. I got water.
Yeah.
We can talk. We have fun.
Yeah.
In prep, there's the other side. There's the asshole side. There's the side that is hungry, tired, exhausted, miserable, and it's the asshole side. There's the side where you don't want people to meet you when you're there. So when I'm prepping, that no matter how many times you've done this, it's always the same side. You get to about 4 weeks out, or just after 6 weeks out. Now you're tired. You got freaking no energy. Your brain is everywhere.
Yeah.
You're analyzing everything about your figures. You're trying to be perfect. You're trying to do everything else. You don't have patience is gone. Your tolerance is gone. And now is a time where I'm like, you only have one focus and one goal. And that's your mind is like this. You're really irritable. So when people come to meet you, then your patience is this small. So when people say something, you're like, man, get the fuck away from me. That's like asshole side. And I always say, people, please just in prep, just
leave me alone.
Just leave me alone, please.
Yeah,
It's not because I don't even have friends. Like I only have my close friends come to see me in prep. I'm like, everyone else like, when I'm done, we can talk. Because if we meet you now, I'm gonna have to apologize to you after the prep is done. And I don't want to have to apologize to everybody. So I'm like, just leave me alone. Because it's I know that it's the same for almost everybody. In prep, we're not the same. So I always say, when you see bodybuilders do stupid shit in social media and in prep, I was like, don't judge them too harshly.
Try to understand.
Try to understand. They're not being themselves right now. It's mental because it's like I remember it's a lack of carbs to your brain or something, but you don't think like a normal person anymore.
Yeah.
You become obsessive, you become compulsive, you become angry, you become irritable, and you mix all this combination in one person. It's not a good combination.
Yeah.
So I always say, like in prep, I was like, don't make any life decisions in prep. In 4 weeks out, don't make any changes in your life. Don't do it because you're gonna regret it later. Just stay there, just do nothing. Even though you believe in your heart of right, I am definitely right. I know I'm right. I know this is what I want to do. I know this is what I want. No, it's not. It's prep.
Think more.
Just think a bit more. And if you're not sure, wait a bit and then see what happens. So in prep, this is why I always say prep, because I always feel like it makes me an asshole. And I know I'm an asshole in prep.
Yeah.
So because of that, I just hate prep. I was like,
But it's getting better, or
it's
Você quer perguntar como que lida com a Marlene, que é seu treinador?
It doesn't get better. It's just every single time I'm like, maybe this one will be. It's always the same when it gets like that late part of it.
Yeah.
No matter how much you try. And I think the best thing I've learned to do now, because me and my wife, we argue a lot in prep.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's a freaking bowling guy. We argue a lot.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
Because we don't argue now. Now all we do is like, we have a disagreement and I just get in the car and I just drive. I just leave the house. I'm like, okay, I'm out. I'm like, this is as good as it gets. We're not gonna. She stays quiet. I leave the house because we're not going to come to a conclusion. We're not going to come to understanding. We're not going to find common ground. It's just going to be.
Leave,
let's just leave. We go away our second break for an hour or two, and then we come back and we go, okay, and then we just get on with it. It's like, okay, that's prep. So prep is you learn to. You don't get better. You just learn to understand that you're in prep and you're not yourself. So you're not gonna do things logically. You just have to accept that that's as good as you get. Anything else, you're asking for too much. If you're gonna be happy, you're asking for too much. If you're gonna be the nice guy, you're asking for too much. Just understand logically that I am in prep. I am not myself. I'm an asshole right now. leave me alone. That's
It makes
as good
sense.
as it's going.
You're honest.
Yeah.
And at least you're honest. At least you know that you're not, you're not good, right?
Oh yeah. You
Yeah.
know,
It doesn't make it easy though.
it doesn't make it easy at all.
Yeah.
It really doesn't make it easy. It's just, yeah. I mean, that's why we started. Like, I'm so glad now I have my own gym. So, especially when you're in the gym in prep, you know, normally in the gym I'm always so focused anyway. But in prep, it becomes intense. It becomes extremely intense. And you know, right, this prep, I moved to a new place, and I'm in a new gym and I'm training new people. And people they now see me and they don't know, because the gym I was before, they know, okay, just leave, you see Samson in the gym, don't talk to him, he's training, don't. So I moved to a new gym and it's like people don't know that, and they say, oh, Mr. Olympia, let me go say hello. And they come in and they interrupt your set, and they, oh Sam, I watch your Instagram, can I have it? And you look at him like, and he's like, oh shit,
Yeah.
So I was saying to him like, before I train, great. After I train, great. When I'm training,
certo no Brasil, o povo é muito
Yeah,
calorento.
in Brazil, they like to hug, to
talk, touch.
touch
Oh,
a lot,
I'm like, after before training, doing training, it's not good time.
Sem preparação no Brasil.
Yeah, no preps in Brazil.
No prep in Brazil. Like this,
only if
like,
we go to Brendel's cave, you know.
Yeah,
that would work.
So it's that intense, and it's. I try to work at it, and I've been trying to work at it, but I still suck at it.
In terms of getting on this topic, especially about your wife, and also, I have to ask you about something. Because listen, Samson, I have to tell you the truth.
Oh yeah,
I have to tell you something.
Yeah,
I was one of those guys.
Yeah.
Malenka, with all due respect, you're gonna understand my point. You're gonna understand my point. I was one of those guys that was questioning about your decision of having Malenka as the wife, and I'm gonna explain. I want you you get my point.
Yeah.
First, I remember clearly that when Fuan met you, he told you like, listen, Samson, you cannot have your wife coaching you. Like, nothing to do with her knowledge. It's just not meant to work, right? It's too much conflict. And just to make it very clear before, it has nothing to do with her knowledge.
No, it's just the idea is your
I
wife.
don't know about her knowledge. How can I judge her knowledge? I mean, I know she has a nutrition background. I know she was an athlete herself. I know that she was the point of contact between you and the other coaches, right? So I'm sure she knows what she's doing. But my point was, you were so close to winning the Olympia. And matter of fact, you were. You were so close to winning the Olympia. And in the position that you are, Samson, you can pick and choose the coach you want. You can have Henny, you can have Cito, you can have Patrick, whoever you want. And what I was questioning was, wouldn't it be risky to work with somebody that knows a lot about your body, but doesn't have the major experience with open bodybuilders, high caliber open bodybuilders, and like other athletes? And what I want to ask you about this is, how was this decision? How was the process of, listen, I'm not going to a famous coach, even though I can choose wherever I want. I'm going to go back and work with Malenka. And I remember also you talk about the guys in Mark. How's the name of the
Mark Health.
Mark
Health.
I think they were helping you with blood works, PD stuff. I don't know, I'm not sure. And how did this all work together? And how was this decision?
So basically,
I know that pisses you off a little bit.
No, it doesn't. No,
but I'm being honest. I'd
rather you be honest. Because this is what people was thinking at the time. Because I would say people don't understand. People didn't understand our relationship dynamics first off, right? Obviously, she got me into bodybuilding. She's always prepping, And when every time we prepped, every decision we made, people understand, like, where my coach, even when I worked with like John and I worked with Milos and I worked with everybody, the way we've always worked out is like, we all sit down at the end of the week. We all discuss together.
Oh, nice.
So how was this week? How did you do? And most of the time, they don't even talk to me. They talk to her. So how was he? How did he eat? How did he train? She was the one that kept track of everything. Everything, every diet, every change. She would do the changes without even telling me. She would just put the food in front of me, going, and I don't even know.
You don't know what you're eating.
I don't even know what I'm eating. I'm just eating. Okay, train. So she was always that reference point and everything else. And she already had a nutrition background anyway. Most of the time, the meals I eat today, she was one who wrote that meals down 5 years ago. All the coaches I've had, they've only adapted that same meals. They haven't changed it. They've come in and they go, okay, cool, let's keep that same thing we adapted it. So people they didn't understand that dynamic. Like she was the one that wrote out, okay, first meal is this, second meal is this, third meal is this. We need you to have different source of protein so your metabolism can metabolize all this source of protein. You have all the amino acid. She was on the broke down the sources of carbs I eat. She did all this with her nutritional background years ago. So when coaches came out, they looked going, wow, this is really good.
It's solid, yeah.
Just okay, let's just adapt this. And
Yeah,
they
yeah.
put little changes to those things, but it was all her initial plan. So when I see people go watch my very first YouTube video on what I was eating before I had any coach. That was the same meals I'm eating today. So she already had that locked down. And then training, she was the one who was always taught me how to train. She was already the one that was kind of with me every single session everywhere else in there. So yes, she didn't have the experience of working at the highest end, but people forget that she was there every step of the way. And the experience of us going from amateur show, first pro show, she was the waypoint. She was always one that was playing that whole one. So her experience was building the whole time. So the pressure is no different. It's always there because as much as it is, you have a coach. They're with you when? How long? Hardly ever. You always message.
Very hardly.
But now you have somebody that is every single minute, every training session. When you look good, when you wake up in the morning, when you wake up, when you look bad, she sees you all the time. And remember, she lives with you, so you ain't cheating on your diet.
You can't. Yeah.
This is somebody that every training session she's right there every time. So, can you think of any better coach in the world than somebody that knows exactly what you eat, exactly what you look like, when you're training, where you are every single minute of the day, everything you do is right there next to you.
Wow.
So when we came in and we were kind of there, we had the fun. Okay, we're looking for a new coach. I sat back and I thought about going, okay, who is in that position to first now learn about my body all over? Because when you get a new coach, they have to learn about your body. They don't just come in and go, okay, right, I know what works for you. Now to do this. It doesn't work that way. And you're gonna make a lot of mistakes.
All over again.
They're gonna make a lot of mistakes before they figure it out. They're gonna take a long time before they figure it out. So when we just finished Arnold 2024, I believe, Arnold. Now, if I was going to pick a new coach, somehow before the Olympia prep, they have to figure out, okay, how does this guy respond to this? How does he work here? And then try to make it perfect for the Olympia stage. To find a coach to do that,
you couldn't test for the Olympia, right?
You can't test for it. You can't. We have to do a few shows before we even. It took us doing how many shows to even get to this point. So they have to figure that out. You can't have, no matter how experienced a coach is, they don't experience with you. So there's nobody there. So at that point, we're like, who do we work with at this point? Who do we know will be able to pick that up very quickly? I would have gone with Hani, but Hani was coaching the two guys I was going up against. I'm like, well, all top three guys are fighting, but the same guy, coach. Come on, man, I'm an athlete. I'm competitive. I'm not gonna sit there and be like, this is cool. They can pretend, but I'm gonna like, I'm gonna beat the guys you're training. So we're not gonna get on. So automatically, that was already kind of self-diluted the whole thing. Like, okay, who do you go with? So when we sat down, I was like, this is pretty much a no-brainer.
Let's give it a go.
You can give it a go. You do. You already know what I'm doing. You know how to make it better. You know what needs to be better. And even the whole time we were prepping, Mel, most of the time, she had an input for everything to make us better. But because she wasn't the main coach, she always said, like, look, I don't want to step on nobody's toes. So she never really opened her mouth to say it. She always said, look, he's your coach. I know that this hasn't worked, but there's only so much I can say without being the controlling wife. So I must stay quiet. And even though she knew that, she stayed quiet. So now we're in that position. I was like, so that's when we did. I remember, guys, we did the Arnold UK, and I was like, look, pick me for the show. You do it. And she did that, and we were like, oh, how do you look so much better in 2 weeks? And I was like, she already figured it out. I was like, okay, so that was a trial run. Okay, now let's go into the off season. Let's go into the thing. You just do it, because I know even for me, it's a lot less stress when I know that the person that is there already knows my body, already knows what I do. I don't need to explain. I don't eat that. No, I eat this.
She knows better than you.
She knows me, so I don't even need to think about it. I can just focus on being an athlete and focus on training. She don't even need to tell me what carbs I actually need to cut out. She's just giving them like, eat. And I'm like, okay, all right, no, eat. And I'm eating, going, why is this food getting smaller? I don't get it. But now you're taking the complete stress out of the situation.
You're not thinking, right?
You're not thinking. You're just now you're being a machine and you're not doing anything else. So for me, this dynamic was perfect. I was like, this is ideal. So the one part that was like, okay, was touchy part of it is, okay, now you talk about obviously chems and PEDs and everything. Okay, you want a better understanding on that house part. That's where Married Health came along.
Okay.
Now it was like, okay, now you think, like if you look at a football team, they have different coaches. They don't just have one coach that does everything. They have someone that does the team. They have a team. So this is the whole idea. It was like, okay, how do we make that dynamic work? The part that we're not good at, the part that we need more knowledge at, we need someone that has more knowledge around that. So we brought that in and we're like, okay, this is our full circle. This is what works. Let's educate ourselves and bring that in. So when we come into the show, we started working that dynamics, and it just started to click. Very quickly, it started to click, you know. She was, people think that because your wife is going to be soft on you. Yeah.
It should be the opposite.
She is the hardest coach I have. Look, I can tell you right, there's not been I've never worked with a harder coach in my eyes. There's not even close. Everybody, she's going to tell you when we're here. I'm like, you don't know my wife. You don't know my wife, man. I'm like, yeah, you don't know her. So trust me, when she diets me, she punishes me, and I don't. That's why we argue. We don't get along. It's like she goes crazy on it. So when we kind of go in the show, she was putting me to the hardest prep I've ever had before. You know, most could be like, "Oh, you look a bit sad. You don't look a bit fuller today. Okay, let's give you a cheat, man. Let's give you." Like, no, you're gonna suffer. I'm gonna make you suffer. I'm like, but I'm tired. I'm exhausted. Yeah. You're suffering anyway. So we had that sort of dynamics going into the prep. So we were able to push harder than I've ever pushed harder. And we know one dynamic that we all know is like, I don't get flat no matter how much you diet me. I always look around and full. Mm-hmm. So why bother about filling me out when you're always full? So let's diet you as hard as you can go. So it sucks because you're never in a good point. You're always horrible, but it's that dynamic of pushing into diet deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. So we carry that dynamic in there. So when we try to announce that, okay, this is why, and everyone's like, oh, this is crazy. This is not going to work. I'm like, but it's not coming from an emotional side. It's coming from a logic.
Yeah,
it's coming from a logical thing, but people didn't know. That's why it's like, because that was kind of frustrating. I was like, but look at my history. Look at all the things, all the coaches. Every coach has always said, "Oh, Mel, they talk to Mel. They don't talk to me. They go through her anyway." I was like, so she must have an involvement. And it was like, I'm like, come on, man. I'm a logical guy. Have I ever made a decision that didn't make no sense? Yeah, there must be some thinking behind it. You wouldn't risk my career just for the sake of, well, I don't care. I just want to. No, there's always logic behind it. And I was like, come on. So when you had a lot of, we were sitting going, I don't know why this is so confusing for people. If anybody knew our relationship, people that knew, they were like, oh, duh, it makes sense. People that didn't know, they were like, oh, this doesn't make sense.
Why? Yeah, like, so we were like I did. I'm like, come on, he can work with Henny, he can work with Aceto. You know, so many. But everybody wants to work with you. So you know that,
exactly. Right? So, but we always knew that there's a risk versus a reward. What is the risk of working with a new coach outside that has never worked with you before?
Yeah, it's risky. It's risky.
That's more risky than you taking someone that's already been there, that knows more. And so when you look at that dynamics of it, it's like,
it's risky.
Which risk would you rather take?
Got it.
So that was where we kind of came up with the idea, like, this makes perfect, it makes more sense than anything. So when we came through the prep, that's why it just clicked.
And for Fuad's point, and the challenge of the conflicts, because we had couples here that they are athletes, and like, why don't you coach each other? And like, we were gonna kill ourselves. And trust me, it was not gonna work. It
takes a different look. Don't get me wrong, it's not easy. It's really not easy for you. So man, you have to be humbled enough to understand that your wife knows more than you. You can't be chauvinistic. You can't be like, oh, what she know? You have to understand that, okay, I know what I'm good at. You put me in the gym and you say, okay, go for it. And I'll kill myself in the gym. That's me. I'm the athlete. I'm the mental.
Yeah.
But if you give me a diet plan, say, write this out for it, I'm like, I don't know. What the hell you talking? This is not my thing. I don't do scientific approach. I don't do, calculate. No. Just give me the food and let me eat it. Let me do what I do. So I know I know what she excels at. So when you bring that together, we're like, it's the point of you going, I know where my part ends and where your part begins. You know where your part ends and where my part. So when you bring that together, there's no stepping on each other's toes. So like, that's why I always tell the story, like, prejudging the Olympia. People don't understand what happened in prejudging Olympia before we go on stage. They thought it was just smooth. I'm like, no, I almost screwed it up, just like I've done in many shows. Because if we go in Olympia, because normally when we prep for all the shows, it's like prejudging Friday. You're normally feeling out. You normally got a lot of food in your system. So you're feeling good. You're feeling like, I'm nice and full. I'm hard. And this time was like, no. You prejudging afternoon, I'm starving. I'm like, man, I'm so hungry. I got to eat something. She's like, no. You don't need to be full. You're good. And I'm like, this is bullshit. I'm like, so I'm standing in the mirror. I'm looking at myself. I'm going, I look flat. I look horrible. This is crap. I don't like this. And I'm like, no. I don't. This is bullshit. I don't want. And I almost screwed up because I'm like, I'm not doing this show. This is crap. And she's telling me, no. And I remember I was about to lose my shit. And she was like, look, she gave me a meal and she said, go to bed. Go take a nap. Bodybuilding mentality. Don't trust your own thinking.
Yeah.
And you see,
this is very important.
This is something that is very hard for bodybuilders to do, especially when you're in that mindset. Everything in your mind is telling you, you're right. I know what I'm doing. I'm right. She doesn't know. The coach doesn't know. I'm right. And you try to be able to have that wherewithal, we be like, I know right now that my mind is telling me this. It's not what's really happening. this is very hard for people to do.
Yeah.
To stand there and go, even though my head is telling me without a doubt, you are flat. You look horrible because you're flat. You need to eat more carbs because you're flat. And everything is screaming, look how flat you are. And I know you have to be able to stay going.
You know a story that I love, Samson, that she was hiding the scales in your house, right?
As soon as prep stop, get rid of scales.
No scales.
You don't need.
You don't look your weight.
You don't need your weight. Well, what do you need your weight for? You don't need.
This is awesome. This is awesome.
Look. I know my demons. I know what I struggle with. You try to eliminate that to make yourself better at this. You know, I know for what if I look at the scales every day, I'll be like, weight goes up, oh man, I'm too fat. Weight goes down, oh man, I'm too small.
It messes your head up.
It messes up your head up. You're trying to make change. This is not. It's not how it works. You have to be able to trust somebody else, take control of that, and say, okay, no, you're fine. So this is the kind of thing you have to be able to in that mindset. So it's being able to be wherewithal enough and judge yourself enough to think, my mind is telling me what I want to hear. It's not telling me the truth. So when you're at that stage, you need to say, okay, I trust you more than I trust myself right now. So if you say, I'm fine, I'm looking okay, or you say I need to lose more or whatever, I need to trust you and let you take control of that. That is where the whole thing comes from. That's where you have to understand that you have to trust the coach completely. It cannot be, you have to trust them, especially those last days before the show. You have to trust them because you can't trust your own self. And having that relationship with your wife,
it's not easy.
It's not easy. It's not easy. It's not easy. You know, you always, and your wife has the ability to tell you what you don't want to hear. Another thing, a lot of couples, it's not easy. I mean, how do you tell your husband, man, you don't look great? It's not easy. I don't think a lot of people can do that to the other half. But you need. She
has to tell this at the same time, like, keep you up, right?
Exactly.
So it's so hard.
So it's so hard to do. And that's why we say, like, although it sounds like that's a great. It's something that has taken years of us failing and struggling to work to the point where we're now, the point where we're like, okay, I know what I do and you know what you do. And you know how to speak to me in the right time and tell me what I need to hear. And I know when you're telling me the truth and when you're not, and believe that fully and let this dynamics work. So that's what is coming. It's come from a lot of work to get to this point where it's like, okay, this is how we do what we do.
And your physique got so much better, Samson. What do you think was the main point? What clicked right? Was the peak week, or was the nutrition during this?
It was the whole thing. I mean, normally in prep, like, you know, it's being able to pull your, first you have to put off enough dense muscle, but being able to pull yourself down low enough, because like when your body is in the point where it wants to grow, to be able to push yourself down low enough and stay that low in low calories in deficit. Because most people be like, if I tell people what I eat in a freaking prep, they'll be like, you're that big, how the hell can you eat that much and still be that big? Most people are like, oh, how can you not get, but it's like, you have to keep your food that low in a long time that you have to peel off that much body fat and stay in that state for long enough. And then the peak week is another one where we always have the idea of peak week. It's like, okay, you know, you deplete and then you carb up and then you dry out. And then when you have to tell yourself that you don't need to carb up, all of a sudden it's like, you have the are you brave enough to try that? To believe that I'm going to dry out, no carb up, and somehow look good on stage without blowing it. It's hard. It's very because automatically you're thinking, but I look flat, but but you need to then say, we have to try this. So it's trying to understand dynamics and try to and bring down the stage and have that click and have that work out for you.
Makes sense. Ó, só falar um negócio, pessoal, eu convidei a Marlene para participar, mas ela não quis, né? O Samson falou que ela é mais backstage, então eu fiz o convite, pedi para participar, principalmente na hora da gente falar de treino e dieta aqui. Mas ela é mais nada. I'm saying that people like, put Marlene in the table to talk about it. I'm saying that I invited her. We've tried. But she's very low key, right?
She's very low key, and you know what? I think, you know, it's something that I've tried to get her to do for her. But she said the same thing. She always wants to be in the background. She don't.
Yeah, that's nice. Also,
it's that point where she's been an enthusiast that, look, she knows she's my wife, she knows my coach, and she don't want to end up taken away from that by standing in front and say, hey, look at me, let me speak. And she wants to remain in that point of it. And you know, I gotta respect that, even though I think she needs to share her knowledge and know how much she knows, but she never wants to.
Samson, before we talk about the Olympia, vamos mostrar pra eles aqui, ó. Okay. Has somebody told you about what is a paçoca? You know what, you heard about it?
No, I have not.
This is a Brazilian food.
Yes.
É do Paraná, né?
Yes, this is why I'm here. This is why I'm here.
Listen, this is, I don't know how to describe it in English. It's kind of like a toasted peanut.
Ooh,
Not allergic to peanut, right?
No, allergic, of course not.
And this one is specific. It has protein.
Oh, yes.
Let's see
I want to try this.
a live reaction.
Oh,
be honest.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna. Look at peanut butter.
Nice.
No, like that.
Yeah.
This is like, we know when you like dry peanut butter.
Dry peanut. Yeah, it's pretty similar. It's pretty similar. It's pretty similar. I'm glad you like it. I'm gonna leave a box with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yo, of course you can have all of them.
Yeah, do them. I like that.
Get this in Malenka then. Try Malenka also. It's peanuts. It's made out of peanuts.
Vamos falar do Arnold agora, né?
Oh, yeah.
Bem
Like
humildão,
that?
né?
Oh, yeah.
Galera, passou cada growth foi aprovado, hein? Melhor do mercado. Hein?
Mr.Olympia aprovou.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
This is Brazilian food. This was made here.
Fala que eu como uma caixa dessa por episódio.
He can't control himself. He eats like 2
No,
boxes of it. Yeah.
This is
And
me.
you know, peanuts is like a little bit caloric, right? So you have to control
You have to
yourself.
control yourself.
Yeah.
But that would be me.
I mean, but you're in a period where you can.
I'm
right?
in the program where I can actually enjoy food for once.
Yeah, you can try it.
That's what it is.
I mean,
this is the best time to come to Brazil because honestly, it's the best time for me because I'm at a point where I'm going to rest and I can eat food and I can try. We went to the restaurant this afternoon.
You try the picanha?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Boy.
Qual restaurante?
Não, no vídeo de prata eles falam.
I'll get fat.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Enjoy.
There's a lot of good food
Enjoy.
over here.
Barbacoa, levar um barbacoa.
Enjoy. You're in a good place.
Oh,
you liked it? You tried it?
I'll try it later.
You try later, yeah. And Samson, we want to talk about the Arno, Ohio also.
Yes.
I don't know if you saw, Tamer was here a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
I don't know if people send you the scout and stuff. And Tamer's opinion, okay?
Yeah.
He thinks that it's not a good strategy for the reigning Olympia being the Arnold.
Yeah.
Because historically, it's normally the contender show.
Yeah.
We can say,
Yeah.
right? I know that's a good prize money,
Yeah.
right? But I'm not sure that's the only factor that. What made you go for the Arnold, even though you are the reigning Olympia champion?
Because I came here by doing things my own way. And one thing that, everybody's like, they're all stuck with this idea of tradition and this is what's supposed to be expected of Mr. Olympia. I'm like, dude, man, I don't know about how the other guys are work, but you better believe I'm different. I'll do my own thing. And I love to compete. So right from years ago, before even anything else, before even announced anything about prize money, I don't give a damn, but that's not the reason why I chose Dauda. I always say like, look, I want to do both. I want to do more competition. I'm never going to be the guy that just sits out all year and you only see him come out once, does the Olympia. And look, how short would my career be if I only did the Olympia?
Yeah.
5 years. Imagine I do the Olympia 5 years. I will compete 5 times. And that'll be it. Every picture you ever see of me will be on the Olympia stage. Everything about me will always be Olympia stage. And that's it. That's the only time you ever see my physique. So in the whole time of my whole career, you're only going to see my physique 5 times. That makes for a very, very short career and not a lot happening there. So whether you win or you lose, the one thing I've always believed is you're writing history every time you step on that stage and every time you show up your physique. Every single time. When I'm done doing this, I'm going to look back at my career. I'm not going to look back and say, damn, I shouldn't have done that, Arnold. Damn, I shouldn't have done that show. No. I'm going to look back and go, man, do you remember how you looked at that show? Oh, man, look at what you did that year. Oh, do you remember that year you competed here, you traveled here? This is what I strive for, is to have something to look back on and have a lot to say, okay, I did things that no one else wanted to do. I stood on stage, I did this, I competed here. I do a lot of these things and I wrote a history that I want to look back on and be proud of.
Yeah.
And it's very hard for people to sort of understand that when they say, the other Mr. Olympia, they've never done that. I'm like, yeah, but I want to make sure that when I look back on it, I have no regrets. I want to look back on that and have a history that follows that mark and say, look, he competed here, he traveled here, he did this, he was here. We never saw him just, did a show and disappeared. And we didn't see him for a year, and then he came out with
um verdadeiro embaixador, né?
Yeah, it's a true ambassador. I told this to Tamara. I said, listen, I understand the strategy behind it, but as a fan, I was there. I loved to see the Olympia and the contender. I loved.
I mean, we put on a battle for a show, and do you think that people that were there who watched that moment, have that moment, do you think they walk away going, man, maybe I should have stayed and watched the Olympia instead?
Yeah.
No. You got a chance to see Arnold champion and, Mr. Olympia right there battle it out right on the stage, right in front of you. You get another opportunity to say that. You don't have to wait for another year to see that. You actually got a chance to do that.
It was awesome.
And this is how you grow a sport, man. You don't grow a sport by just sitting out and then doing it, because it would stay the same. So I've always said, I'm going to break the mold. I'm going to do things my way, and I'm not going to look back, and I'm not going to follow the expected tradition of it. I'm like, if you're expecting that from me, then you're going to be disappointed. I'm going to do things differently. I'm going to do things my way, and I'm going to do things that way, because I want to build a legacy that's beyond just every once in a while he jumps on the Olympia stage. That for me is not good enough.
So you're not worried about, now you're not the favorite anymore.
Why?
You're not worried with this.
I wasn't the favorite last year.
Yeah.
How did that work out? And people always laugh, and I was like, remember Arnold 2024? We all forget that I lost to Hardy twice.
Yeah,
2 Arnolds.
in the same year.
In the same year.
Yeah.
And going to Olympia, I wasn't the favorite.
Yeah, that's true.
How did that work out?
Yeah.
So I'm like, look, you need to understand, in this sport, anybody can beat anybody at any time. And I've said this a 1,000 times before. It's a sport. It's a sport of the best man wins on the day. That's it. If you take it personally and you take it to heart and you're thinking, because he lost that last show, it means that he's not going to win the next one. You're gonna lose, put money on it. You're gonna lose your money every single time. This is what the sport is, and I understand that full-heartedly. That every time I get on stage, there's a good chance I'm gonna win. There's a good chance I'm gonna lose. Especially this is no boxing match. This isn't I knock him out, he knock him out. This is a sport where you bring your best, the other guy brings his best, and someone decides who's the best man on that day. That's it. That's as far as the control. As long as you know you brought your best to that stage, you walk away with your head held high. Yeah. You don't walk away going, especially when you know you've done your best at it. You don't. Because when I walk off the Arnold stage, I don't walk out going, oh my God, this is horrible, man. I'm like, look, I did my goddamn best, and he brought his best, and his best was good enough on that day.
Yeah.
That's it.
And it was close.
And it was close.
We all
go battle.
Very close. It was not unanimous.
There we go.
Yeah, it was close.
So, same thing I'm expecting at Olympia. I'm going to now go back. I'm going to work my ass off to bring another new level of myself. And I'm expecting him to bring another new level of himself coming to Olympia. And then we battle it again, and we see let the best man win. And then we do that again year after year, time after time. The fans are going to love it. And we're going to create bodybuilding. We're going to create history. That's it. You need to be able to step out of the frame and look at the bigger picture.
Yeah, it makes sense.
No caso dele, cada vez que ele compete, ele melhora muito mais, né?
He's saying that, especially in your situation, every time you compete, you're getting better.
Yeah,
better,
and
better.
Exactly that. So it makes because this is like I said. I told people like, look, since I won my Pro in 21, I've literally had a year off.
A gente não vê o corpo dele cansar.
Everything I'm competing every 6 months.
We don't see your body like getting wasted,
No, and if it's working, well, why change the strategy that's working?
Yeah.
So it's something that I was like, look, you don't judge it by what's happened in history, what's happened before. You judge it by what you've seen currently. Every time he gets on stage, he gets better. So why should he all of a sudden change now and go, does he need more size? Do I need to take a year off to make more size?
No.
There we go. So he needs to get better condition. How is he going to get better condition? By being on stage and repeating that process and peaking his peak over and over again until he masters how to get it right.
Yes.
Same thing is what we do. And this is why we get on stage as often as we can to make sure that we get good at that. And this is that simple.
Makes sense. If I'm not wrong, only Ronnie and won the Arnold and the Olympia in the same year. Right?
Yeah.
It's history, right?
It's history. Yeah. And now we remember that because it's history. I mean, how many years ago? 27 years, 25 years ago?
Yeah, 24 years ago.
That was the last time a Mr. Olympia jumped on there. So
wow. Yeah.
So I looked at that, I was like, man, nah, we gotta make more history. We gotta make more of that happen. So it's this is the way I want to live my career, is by making history, man. Doing things that others won't do. No Mr. Olympia has ever been to Brazil before.
Yeah, the reigning
Mr. Olympia.
Very few times, yeah.
There we go. Now,
years and decades ago.
So this is why. There we go.
Yeah, I think Lee Haney was like decades ago.
91, 92.
Phil came for a situation, but he didn't. He got sick and he left. But doing what you're doing, like going to the podcast, going to a seminar. Never done.
Yeah. So this is insane, it, man. No, I mean, like I keep saying, man, this sport gave me everything I have today. And if this is the least I can do to help build it as a sport, come on, man, how can I not?
And Samson, not only as ambassador, I admire your career so much because you're a content creator yourself. You're super active on Instagram. Your YouTube channel is so good to watch.
Yes.
And we discussed this a lot, Samson. What do you think is like the fine line? What's the limit between being this public guy, this ambassador, this content creator, and not letting this like kind of get in the way of you getting your best physique possible?
It's hard. It's hard. It's a lot of work. Don't get me wrong. It's hard to be able to be all locked in bodybuilder and be focused like this at the same time being traveling and creating content of that. It's hard, but one, you have to have a good team around you. You really do need that. You have to have people that can take the weight off you. If you try to do it by yourself, it won't work. You have to have a good team around you to be able to take the weight. And two, it's a lot of work. You gotta be able to work. It's like,
it's work.
Look, bodybuilding is hard enough as it is. You know, you eat, you sleep, you train, but at the same time, what you're doing in between that, it matters. So it's all a lot of work. So you have to put in that work. You have to realize that you don't just make a living on the stage and what you do. You got to make a living outside that as well. And you have to bring people into your world and show them that part of it. And it comes from no understanding. We all understand that now bodybuilding and social media goes hand in hand. You have to do both. You can't just be, I'm going to go into the shadows and close out the work.
It's not like...
It doesn't work that way anymore.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. It's not, I love Dorian for his time being able to do that. And I would love to be able to do that, but good luck. You're not doing that today. It's not happening. You have to understand and accept the sport for what it is now. It goes hand in hand with social media. They go hand in hand together. So if you're going to do it, you got to be good at both of it. You can't just be a good bodybuilder, but disappear on this part. You can't be good at this part and not be a good bodybuilder. You have to be both. And that requires a lot of work. It requires a lot of commitment, and it relies having good people around you. And this is why I try to sort of have to really be all-rounded in that part, I mean, you want to be Mr. Olympia, that comes with a title. So, go ahead for it.
Embaixador de verdade, né?
Like we're saying, it's a true ambassador. Like,
o esporte precisa disso.
The sport needs this, for sure.
Thank you very much.
It's a privilege, really is a privilege. Having an athlete your level and being,
it's a privilege,
being this guy.
It's a privilege being in this position. Like, honestly, it is life changing. There's no getting away from that. It is a privilege being in this position. A lot of men have come through this sport, have come through this stage, and they never got here. You're one of 19 men that's made it to this far. So 19, it is a privilege and it is a blessing. And the minute you forget that is the minute where you don't understand what position you're in. You have to understand it's a privilege, it's a blessing to be here. So honor that by giving all you can to something that's giving you so much and giving you this privilege to be here. So don't ever misunderstand that. Always know that this is where you're positioned and you represent the sport at the highest level. You have to represent that fully with your full heart while you're here.
Yeah. And going back to Tamer, he was here also saying that if you get to that condition that we know that you can get, we are talking about probably a new Ronnie Coleman. He said this with his words.
Yes.
And he's a guy that's lived in the sport a lot. He knows
uma nova dinastia, né, na Open.
Maybe a new dynasty something that we are not seeing anymore in the Open division. The last one was filled and was year after year.
And and this is something that it's fire, man. It's something that fires you up to want to achieve. It's something that fires you up to want to create. To be at that point. These people comparing you to the greats, and you being in that position, going, damn, this is awesome. And how can you not go into the gym with fire lit under you when you know that this is what people are comparing to? This is where you're standing amongst of. So it's I can tell you now, it gives you a lot of rage and a lot of motivation to go at it after it. And it's I'm excited, man. I'm excited to sort of see what comes next and what we're able to bring the next time we stand on that stage and what comes after that. So
because it's funny, your story is something is it kind of it was really slow, the process to you realize you could be Olympia. I think I think what was the first time you said, I think I can win, when you got third?
Oh man, I think
that was the point.
The first time I truly believed I belonged on the Olympia stage was the first time. It was 2022.
When you got 6.
So when I got 6, I remember the call out, that I was out here when we went to call out. I was always thinking about, look, I just want to be top 10. If I'll be top 10, that's great enough. And I remember they did the first call out, and I was in the first call out of Olympia. And at that point, I'm like,
I remember.
You're in the freaking first call out of Olympia. And then went off, and then they did a second call, and they called me into the second call out. And they called me in the middle. You had Hunter one side, Andrew one side,
Big Ramy,
and a few guys on that side,
Nick,
and they call out. And I remember, standing there, and they said, okay, all right. They sent all the guys back in line. They said, Samson, you stay.
Yeah.
And then they called out the first call out again. And that moment for me, I was like,
it clicked it, yeah.
No, this isn't. It's not a mistake. It's not an accident. You didn't just. Oops, they forgot and they by mistake they put her in the first call out.
Yeah.
Yes,
you are here. And I remember if you people watch that clip, they see me nodding my head. I'm like, yeah, I belong here. This is me.
Nice.
And I think that was a moment where I believed that, you know what? Yeah, if I can do this now, I can be Mr. Olympia. There is no doubt I can be Mr. Olympia. And then 11 weeks later, we won the Arnold Classic. And I was like, yeah, there's no stopping it now. I'm coming.
You got better very quick. Right?
Melhorou demais do Olympia pro Arnold Classic, assim,
Olympia,
colocou ombro, colocou tudo.
Everything.
Yeah. So, yeah.
And I mean, I have to ask about the pinnacle moment, Samson. What was like the title? I mean, because it was really close. I was there also, and nobody knew what was going to happen. It was really close. It was a battle. It was so nice to watch. so nice to watch, man.
You can't possibly. I always say this, like even up to now, that moment always brings tears to my eyes. You can't possibly believe what it feels like to stand there, because I say like. I've watched every single Olympia that's ever happened. I've watched, the Jay and Phil and the freaking Jay and Ronnie and Phil and Kai. And I've watched them stand, those two men in the center spot, and they call out the next Mr. Olympia. And I've watched this over and over and over. You never think you would ever be in that position. You just think I don't even know what it feels like to be in that moment. So when you're standing there, and you're looking around, you're going, holy shit, is this going to be it? Is this going to be a moment? Your life dream, everything you worked for was to be
Give me chills,
this.
just think, man.
I mean, think about it. Imagine having a dream in your life that you think, oh man, if only I can imagine what it might be like. Just one thing that you always wanted your whole life. And then stand right there in a spot and going, in the next 2 seconds, you're going to find out if you've achieved your life dream or not. You cannot explain that feeling. It's unexplainable. So when you stand there and they're like, okay, the next name you hear is your current and reigning, the 2024 Mr. Olympia. I stood there. My face the whole time was like, I'm gonna be sick. Okay, come on, hold it together. Can this be it? And you're just thinking, is this it? Is this it? Would it happen? Would it be now? Would it happen? Would it happen? And I remember that point, and they call your name out. You stand there, and I remember, and they said, and you, and I'm like, and I'm standing there, and I'm like, oh, hold on, but is that me or him? Because you can see everywhere they said this. I looked around, I was like,
because New was both,
because
right?
New was both.
Yeah.
I was like, was it New? But so I was standing, I was trying to figure out like. Is it me? And I'm like, okay, yeah, all right. And then they call your name, and it just your knee just goes, and your whole body just drops, and he's just like, holy shit! And it feels like someone just freaking shocked you with electricity, and you just completely just give in, and you
get numbed, right?
You just completely zoom in, and there's nothing would ever explain that feeling. Nothing will ever compare to being there. Nothing, and I don't even know how. It's just insane. And
honestly, it was a little bit sweeter with all this Malenka situation.
That made it even so, because it's like, it was a hard year. Yeah. There's no getting it. 24 was a hard year. Like, 2 Arnold Classic, came second to Hardy twice. And then you left the coach, that became his own thing. And then you picked your wife coach, and everybody lost their shit. Like, what the hell you doing? You're blowing it, what the hell? And then you had to deal with all that for a whole year. And the whole year, you kind of like, okay, don't worry.
Just watch.
You trust me. Just stick to your guns. You know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. Just watch. And you hear a lot of talking, and you're like, okay, just watch. And it kept louder and louder and louder, and you're like, okay, just watch. And you know what? I tell people, like, it pissed me off. So I went to the gym, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna freaking show you something. So I went to the gym, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna show you. So when you stood in, the guy told me, I was like, if I win that Olympia on that day, I'm not even keen on me picking up. I want you to come here in front of all of them that are talking. I want you to pick that trophy up and going, I told you so. So when that moment happened, I was like, yeah,
E o troféu mais bonito da história.
Yeah, the only Sando, the golden Samson.
That was good. Oh, man, it just everything.
Yeah, was
for that moment.
Yeah.
Everything. It feels like it's not just everything for that year, but everything in life. Like the whole story of us. You know how we started bodybuilding just together in this little apartment in the UK, knowing anything about the sport. Figuring out, okay, how do you hit a front double bicep pose? How do you diet? Everything we've done, every single all the the freaking debts we go into, not being able to afford to compete, and all the struggles and all the downs and all the struggles when both of us working full time, trying to just achieve this goal. Everything came around full circle for one exact pinpoint second and moment at that stage. So when I say how powerful that moment is for us, it couldn't have been any more significant. It was like, because I still look back going, you remember we watched the 2013 Olympia, looking at Phil and Kai going, oh my God, this is insane. Look at this is crazy. Look at what this is a sport. And then we ran through the whole race together the whole time, just us. Through everything, all the difficult, all the adversity, all the letdowns, all the setbacks. We ran through that all the time. All the time when I said, I'm going to quit, I'm not doing that. She said, no, come on, man. Keep going. You can do it. You can do it. And I'm like, I don't know. This is not for me. No, come on. You can do it. And all the, this disappointments and everything and letdown. We ran through all of that. And then that one moment right there, it's like, here you go. This is it. It's... That moment, it was nothing will ever compare to that moment. That moment right there was like, it was, because I said even that week, in Vegas where we were there, because for the first time that week we were like, we don't want no cameras, we want just two of us in the hotel like we used to do when we came up. It was just two of us the whole week training. Nice. Because even we were like, oh, they didn't see me train. I was training in the hotel gym. I didn't even go to the main. I trained in that hotel gym because I was like, no, I wanted to just be two of us. I wanted it to be like the way it always was. No noise, just two of us. So the whole peak week, I was just training in the hotel. And we were like, okay. So it was just two of us. So when that moment happened, it felt like it was meant to be like this. This was what we were waiting for. It was meant to happen. This is everything.
It was aligned.
It was lined for this moment. So when you stood on that stage and we look at that now, and we're like, it wasn't me who earned that. It was us that earned this trophy. Yeah. So it's that's why I was like, and I made it more good that it was gold one, because now we're gonna look at, we know why that one's so goddamn special to us. That's why, it was a moment, So yeah, it's something that I'm truly proud of.
And
quando que vão fazer um filme dessa história?
Hey, you have to make a movie about this,
Oh man, if we say, I always laugh as a man, when my life is done with this, man, whatever craziness, this is gonna be an interesting movie, because it's gonna be like, man, I can't believe this is stupid, this is crazy.
But there's new chapters to come. Right?
Oh, there's more chapters to come. Like
that's my question. Also, something like, what's the difference in the mindset of achieving the first one, and now you have to maintain it?
It's because I always feel like it's every year we go into. It feels like there's a new challenge that's come along, a new chapter for something to overcome. Every single year I've done bodybuilding, every single time I prep for a big show, there's a new challenge, there's a new chapter. And this year just introduced a new one, like, hey, you must have been great. Yeah. Guess what? Now you just lost the Arnold. Now let's start a new, ta-da, here comes the new chapter. Are you ready? I'm like, okay, let's get this movie going, part 2. So it feels like every year we go through something, and it always starts off like, okay, and then you go through you overcome the challenges, you go through, and then you succeed at it, and you're going, wow, we did it. And then it's like, okay, good, now it's a new one. So it feels, that's why I say, like, you gotta love life for the journey it brings you to, because you have, look at the story you're writing as you're living it. So when someone say, oh, why do you choose to do the Arnold? I'm like, have you not seen the story that is following everything? You get adversity and you say, okay, now you have to overcome that. It might take you 1 year, it might take 2 years, it might take how long, but you keep going after that thing. And then when you overcome it, you have this journey that has been written along the way for you to get here. And then you go over and you go, wow. And you look back at it going, I understand now. Because I didn't understand why I had to struggle. I didn't understand when I was doing it. I didn't understand why I had to go through debt and broke, and I had to fail and fail and fail and fail. But then I come now and I look back and I go, now I see why. Because of that, it taught you a value, it taught you humility, it taught you how to cherish what you have. It taught you a lot of lessons because you failed and failed and failed. And now you're in this position, you don't take it for granted. you're like, man, I'm blessed. But if you didn't go through all that, would you truly understand what it means to be here now holding that title? No. You would think, oh, well, you know, I just got it. It's not a big deal. But now, because you did, you learn from it. So next chapter is the same thing. It's like, time for you to learn another life lesson, my friend. There you go. You know?
É reinado conturbado, né?
Yeah, it's like it's not a direct line.
It's not. It's not. It's not at all. You know?
And Samson, so we can wrap it up. First of all, thank you for being so this attention. I mean, I know you're tired. You were up like 4 a.m. right?
Oh yeah,
you're in the street all day.
Yeah, but
thank you so much for this attention. But just to wrap it up, Samson, I feel like we didn't talk about training enough. For a bodybuilding podcast. You know?
Yes, all right. And, sure, let's talk about it.
Yeah. I just want to understand. Like, I know that Malenka is the boss in this topic, but I'm sure you know what works. Like, what works for you? Like the method, the division. So, tell me a little bit more of training.
So training wise for me is this. You know, people always seem to understand. Like I do a lot of high volume, but because I train a lot of high volume doesn't mean I don't push heavy weights. Okay, my thing has always been is, you know, I always seen like the 90s. You know, the guys in the 90s how they train. They have the simple bro split, right? You know, Monday you train chest with the arms under. That has always been the defining line. So when I started doing this, I know now people are mixing different things up, but I've always seen those guys, and I always say, look, success leaves clues. If you watch the best bodybuilders in the past, watch the way they train, the method hasn't changed. It's been the same method over and over again. Now they're trying to reinvent that, but I'm like, the wheel's already invented. Yeah. So when I went to learn to train, I watched Ronnie, I watched Jay, I watched all those guys back then. I watched the way they trained, and I was like, okay, they do the simple bro split. If they go into the gym, they're training back. If they go into the gym, they're training legs. If they go into the gym, they train arms. And then something I picked up, watched, you know, Jay and Ronnie was one thing, two guys I paid a lot of attention to because they were mass monsters. They were able to not only keep that freaky size, but hold on to that nice shape as well. So Ronnie lift extremely heavy.
Yeah.
But he also does, you never see Ronnie do like simple sets. He always does a lot of exercise. Jay, he was the control form guy. So I was like, okay, for me, it was taking those two and putting it into one. Okay, I want to do a lot of high volume, but I want to do it with extremely heavy weights. So when I'm super saiyan, I'm not just sort of breaking down, okay, I'm going to break down this weight over. I'm going to max out on a leg press, you know, as much kilo, 500 kilos on the leg press, max out, and then straight from there, I'm going to jump into a squat. This is extremely intense training, you know, to do that. But to be able to maximize, not just put in heavy amount of load on a weight, but yet your heavy amount, lot of reps in it, is something that is taxing. But every time I do that, the muscle grows from it. It expands from it. That volume and that weight grows from it. So you're not just getting this phlegm inflammation, but you're also getting that dense tissue that is grown over. And so when people say like, how does your training come together? You put on so much size in a short time. Every time I go to the gym, I know I'm breaking down tissue.
Okay.
And if I'm breaking down tissue, I'm recovering well. It's always going to be growing. It doesn't matter if I'm dieting. It doesn't matter if I'm off season. This is always the formula, and this is why we're able to capitalize that growth. So my training is just literally fractured around that style.
So you like high reps with you know the most
weights
possible, and short, like between the sets,
short breaks. So if I'm training with I'm training Anthony, the minute his sets ends, my sets begins. The minute my training ends,
really short.
We don't waste time chatting. That's why I got the headphones on. Mm-hmm. I train with Anthony Mel. We don't speak. To anything, I'll be like, okay, one workout, maximum like an hour. Mm-hmm. In an hour, I want to be done. No way. And in that hour, we won't stop for more than 5 minutes. It would never happen. It was like, okay, we go for one mission next. Okay, next we start. And it's like, okay, you go, I go, you go, I go, you go, I go. And we do that on the way until the exercise finishes. And when the exercise finishes, then I take my phone and go, that was a good exercise. And okay, cool. Yeah. We don't talk. So it's always that sort of form of training that has worked quite intensely for me. It was like, it not only shortens my time in the gym, it also makes sure that you're putting your maximum load and tension into a very small window, and you're piling everything you can into that small chance of you actually doing that. So so it's very intense, but this is what's
you're still in the bro split, so
I'm still bro split. So Monday we got back. The reason I put back on Monday is because it's the muscle group I want to improve the most.
Okay.
So when I have my rest on Sunday, the first workout of the day is my weakest group, the one I want to bring up the most. So back comes in first. Mm-hmm. Quads and hamstring comes in second, so I'll do quads, hamstring, and glutes the next day. Shoulders on Wednesday, arms on Thursday. I rest on Friday. Saturday I do chest and calves. Rest again on Sunday.
Old school.
Simple
Simple, old school.
Never changed. Never changed.
You like also like drop sets, right?
Drop sets, super sets.
Super sets.
For me,
Nice.
I want the kind of workout that makes me feel like I'm about to die.
Okay.
If I don't
like that feeling.
Yeah, I like that feeling. If I don't walk out of the gym completely soaked, gasping, I'm like, nah, I haven't trained. I can't. It doesn't matter if I'm training arms or if I'm training chest or if I'm training legs. All the same. I have to feel like I'm about to die. If I don't feel like that after a session, I'll be like, that was no good session. That was okay. It wasn't a good session. It has to feel like, holy shit, my heart is pumping out my chest, and I feel like, okay, this is, and it has to be like every session. If I don't do that every single session, I always have this mentality is like, okay, if you're not doing that every single session, somebody else is, and that person is going to beat you. So I'm like, no, I got to make sure that every time I go in that gym, I break myself down, and I know for a fact that when I'm done, I'm like, I know I couldn't lift one more set if I tried. I'm completely out of it. And that's when I'm like, yeah, okay, that's a good session.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I'm just going to say something real quick in Portuguese. Pessoal, vamos encerrar agora, tá? O Samson amanhã tem um seminário lá com o Rafa Brandão. Vai começar 10 da manhã, então ele tem que descansar, ele viajou hoje. Mas antes de encerrar, a gente tem que agradecer três pessoas, na verdade, né, Brasil? Primeiramente, o Gabriel e o Márcio da CIMERIAN.
Nossa, fenômeno, hein? Parabéns por isso, cara.
Fizeram com que esse momento fosse uma realidade para todos nós no Brasil, pra gente, obviamente, mas pro Brasil tá recebendo aqui o atual campeão do Olympia. A CIMERIAN tá fazendo história, literalmente. Não só tá patrocinando, tá trazendo ele pra cá, mas como vai ter equipamentos do atual campeão do Olympia na academia do próprio.
Inacreditável.
Uma indústria brasileira fazendo isso, inacreditável. E não podemos deixar de agradecer o Rafa, né? O Brandão, porque assim, pessoal, o Brandão... Ele fez essa ponte. O Brandão estava responsável pela agenda do Dauda aqui nesse fim de semana em São Paulo. E ele podia estar usando essa noite aqui para gravar um conteúdo pro canal dele, ou até mesmo pro próprio podcast dele que ele tem também, ou para gravar um curso, para fazer alguma coisa.
Rafa, você é foda, hein?
E o Rafa fez questão que ele viesse aqui, ele entendeu a importância dele estar aqui, ele cedeu essa agenda que poderia ser dele para ele usar como ele quiser pro Dauda estar aqui. Então, Rafa, você é foda, não é à toa que você tá onde você tá. Obrigado por essa oportunidade. Obrigado, pessoal da CIMERIAN também, por ter feito isso acontecer. E, pô, mais um momento histórico pra gente aí que é inesquecível, né?
Fala pra ele que o Brasil tá louco por ele, tá? Todo mundo aqui no chat falando quanto ele é gente boa, humilde, cara. Eu tô na transmissão aqui nacional.
First I was thanking Rafa and CIMERIAN for making this happen. And he's saying that the chat is crazy. Like, this guy is so cool. We didn't know. Because, you know, normally it's not, nobody has the chance to really talk like for 2 hours with Olympia and seeing this. And so
that's cool.
Everybody is loving so much, man.
Thank
I have to
so
thank
much,
you
Brazil
more
loves
than,
you, bro.
Oh, man, thank you so much, man.
Thank you so much.
Really appreciate
Samson,
it,
what an honor having you here.
Thank you
so
much.
nice to get to know you a little bit more, man.
Appreciate it.
I was sure you were a humble guy just watching you, talking with your fans in Ohio and Olympia. And, you know, I'm going to tell you, not because you're here, but one of the podcasts I most like doing, interviewing, it was yours.
Oh, man, I appreciate that
man,
so much,
It was
man,
awesome.
honestly.
It was awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for having me. I mean, it's amazing point to be in Brazil, to be here with you guys and be able to sort of shed some light on both our lives and what we've been through and everything else and share stories. This is what bodybuilding is about. And this is why I always wanted to, you know, I always want to enjoy it, to be able to not just, you know, do this, but to be able to share the journey with loads of people. And, you know, the support that we've had, especially from Brazil, it's been immense. And you guys really definitely let me know that you support me, because I've seen it everywhere. And I really appreciate it all the time. And, you know, it means a lot. So, guys, thank you so much. And yeah, man, obviously this is something I want to come back to Brazil every year.
Yeah, we'll be awesome,
share love, and I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
It's easy to understand why you are where you are, Samson, because you know you deserve it a lot. You're such a nice guy, such an athlete, you know, such a husband. You know, congrats for being this ambassador and this guy that represents our sport.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're the real ambassador. You're a real champ. You're a real champ. You're a real champ. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, man.
Pessoal, é isso. Espero que vocês tenham gostado. Amanhã o Dauda está com o Rafael Brandão às 10 da manhã lá na imersão. Não sei se está disponível ainda, mas corre lá no site, pergunta, manda WhatsApp lá, vai que dá tempo. Vai lá que dá tempo. Vai que. E obrigado quem ficou até agora.
Obrigado a todos.
Obrigado a todos que ficaram, tanto na live em inglês quanto na live em português.
De coração, obrigado a
mais
todos.
Mais um episódio histórico do Monstro que vocês fizeram parte. Obrigado.
Muito obrigado.
Thank you, Samson. Thank you.
Thank you.